exists and all things that exist must be created, then that God must be created. However, there are those that believe that God wasn't created. God exists. However, he exists as a necessity for all things to exist. But they don't actually explain what the attributes of a deity are. And without going into the attributes of the particular deity that they hold to, either Judeo-Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter. So yeah, my issue with conversations with people like Praise and Gavin and Smokey is, well, for lack of a better term, Smokey does seem fair at first, up until a point. In the conversation that I was witnessing when he was talking to Red Fang, he started moralizing why it was okay to call him a retard, or why it is that he can call him gutter trash. And I thought that was pretty interesting as to why he thinks that in any way, shape, or form this extends any kind of benefit to having a conversation about the topic other than attacking the person. In any way, shape, or form. Right? I've actually had PMARS on my channel and never necessarily attacked him for who he is, but just for what it is that he tries to espouse.
That is such
one
a lie.
Between myself and PMARS with one way present, he didn't seem to demonstrate a lot of the
What are you? You're a bully,
preconceived
dude.
collective notions of what a Christian is. And this was backed up by one way, who's a Calvinist. PMARS didn't like this. And for a long time, neither did Smokey. Smokey strictly dismissed PMARS as a Gnostic. You can't be having conversations with people like this. They don't know what it is to believe in Christ. So he went after him. Not about any issues that he was bringing up. It just simply became about PMAR's differences and how he believes in Christianity. But it was about it became about PMAR's believing in that. Not how he comes to those realizations. Not how he comes to those conclusions. It became about him himself. And PMARS was ostracized from that community for a short while, it seems. There were differences in opinions about the way Praise was looking at Christianity and Smokey was looking at Christianity. And there was a separation between those two camps as well. But now it seems to not be an issue anymore. Now it seems it's perfectly fine as long as Smokey's willing to go in there and attack certain people that Praise has been unsuccessful at defending himself from. It's perfectly fine for Smokey to be here up to this point, as long as it doesn't involve his channel or how his channel runs. And that seems to be it. I love the rant and the lecture. On the other hand, the rhythm and tone reminds me uncannily of a Catholic preacher giving a lesson from a pulpit. Thanks, Barney. I think that was directed towards me, or was that directed towards someone else? It could have been directed towards me. And with that, I'm fine with that criticism. But I have attempted to have those conversations. I've tried to have the conversations based on that. I very much tried to. I think those attempts have failed. I think the attempts of trying to have the conversation about the topic fail ultimately in the fact that people can't escape the person that they're actually talking to. And I think that's why these conversations fail. Because people can't get past one another. It's not about having a conversation about the topic anymore. It's about having a conversation about the person themselves, about the person bringing up the topic, and why it is that they think that the person is actually holding to these particular ideologies. And if they do, they're automatically a retard, or they're gutter trash, or they're filth, or they're rats, like Smokey Saint sometimes, well, a lot of times says. So, instead of getting into any kind of deeper conversation, why is this person believing what they are believing? Why is it that they hold to those beliefs? It doesn't come to that, especially if it's adversarial against the Christian faith, then it becomes even more, seems to become more vitriol, right? Like, if you hold some kind of contrary position on Christianity, or the fact that Jesus could exist or couldn't exist, all of a sudden it becomes about you. Okay, well, let's look into that. Why do you think that Jesus didn't exist? Okay, well, do you think that Jesus could exist, but do you think that Jesus could have done these things? And then go from there. But the problem is that they devolve very, very quickly. And again, it comes about from past interactions. And everybody loses. I think these conversations are doomed to fail. There's nothing there to be gained. And that's just my look at it. If you try to have the conversation and you try to clarify, you won't. I went in there and got kudos from. I went in there at one point and got kudos from Smokey because I basically, in a way, steelmanned what Gavin was asking Red Fang. I don't hold to the mythicist argument of Jesus. I think it's kind of a weak argument. I don't think that Red Fang's argument for why it is that he believes that Jesus Christ is necessarily a myth is a good argument or a good justification. Right? Now, we could go into that some more, and I think if I went into that more with Red Fang, I don't think it would necessarily turn into me calling him vitriol and a turd. But then again, that could just simply be the fact that I don't hold any personal gain from necessarily bad-mouthing Jesus Christ, or whether someone believes in Jesus Christ or doesn't believe in Jesus Christ. So somebody would say, well, your position on asking Red Fang these questions is automatically biased because you don't believe in Jesus. Well, I do believe in Jesus. I have no problem in acknowledging the fact that Jesus was probably a man. It's the other claims for Jesus that I have issues with. So that again becomes incorrect. Because again, I don't hold to the mythicist argument. But things get complicated. And I want to see if Barney wants to come in and have a conversation. Because I like having conversations with Barney. But if Barney's at work, Barney's probably not going to be able to come in. Is Jay ever going to realize all his content is talking about... All my content is talking about Gavin. Have I talked about Gavin at all here? I brought up Gavin here, but that's not all my content, Beamers. Apparently you're not paying attention to this. Okay, well, there's the link, Bernie. No, I don't really care about Gavin all that much. I get a kick out of him, but I don't really care that much about him. Gavin is Gavin. And Gavin has demonstrated himself to be inconsistent on multiple times. Even in that conversation, even in that stream, if you take it all the way back, you can actually see a part where my brother, Jeff, agrees with him. It was on the topic of whether Hitler was a Christian or not, and they were talking about it, and Jeff agreed with what Gavin said, and Gavin still didn't want to concede that Jeff conceded the fact that Gavin's right. Hitler was probably not a Christian. Gavin just didn't want them to agree. And I can take it back if anybody wants to say. And I've done the same thing with Gavin. I've agreed with him on points, and he'll jump right down my throat. I'm like, why are you jumping down my throat if I just agreed with you? And he'll do that. That's Gavin. Gavin doesn't like us because we're atheists. And that seems to be the only reason why he thinks that he always has to be, at least to some extent, in his mind, contrarian to us. Even though he accuses us of being contrarian, even though we will agree with him on certain points. Hey, Barty.
Hello.
Hello. Long time no talk.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has. Lots of drama on the old YouTube.
Oh, as opposed to when?
Somewhere between my ass and my taint. I don't know. You're right. That's a completely stupid. That's just a completely stupid statement. There's always been drama on these, hasn't there?
Always.
Yep.
And if there isn't, then it must be manufactured.
Oh, it must be. Must be. But yeah.
I think that people somehow find it, whatever they get into, find it too boring to approach it academically. And they just have to manufacture drama just to remain engaged.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah, because if it's too academic, then it's not worth listening to. And if you add a little bit of the island, a little bit of the Survivor-esque drama, the reality TV aspect to it, then all of a sudden it becomes a lot more. It becomes more worth listening to.
It's been a long while, but Jerry Springer. People want Jerry Springer back.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. But yeah, and I've been trying to do that. I've been trying to so hard to have those conversations. And I admit I get wrapped up in the drama as well sometimes. And sometimes it's enjoyable. Sometimes it's a little bit of a narcotic, right? Like, ooh, look at this. Ooh, this is fun. People are getting on each other. Ooh, this is getting nasty. And then sometimes when you want to get into a serious conversation,
coming up
you're
and
like,
it's biting us in the ass
all
right
that
now,
seriousness and nastiness that we were talking about earlier, you don't get
But
past
hey,
that.
it generates views. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
unfortunate.
That's why we can't have good things.
True.
Very true. Yeah, Red, don't get into the mythicist argument with freaking Smokey, please. Just don't. Just don't, man. Just don't.
Stupid argument on both sides. So
I mean, I get why you don't believe Jesus to exist, and I realize your justifications may be classified as being weak, but that was a setup from Gavin from the get-go. He was out there. He was targeting you. He didn't care about your opinion or your justification. He was out there targeting you.
yeah, he just wanted
saw.
he just wanted to rile up Smokey against me. So
Well, it worked.
yeah,
Gavin did get riled up. Then he turned around and was trying to moralize why it is that he could call you a piece of shit or not a piece of shit. What did he call you? Or glorified
trash.
Glorified gutter trash or something like that? Or,
glorified gutter trash, retarded, and multiple other things.
Yeah. Yeah, something that he seems to like to go to very quickly, even though when the atheists that he talks to don't go there. That's what I thought was interesting. I'm like, we don't go to you guys being. I'm like, how many atheists go to you being retards? How many people go to? I mean, I'm sure there are.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, hello.
Train.
I mean, I'm sure that there are atheists that do this. I don't doubt that there are. I mean, there's vitriolic.
Well, I didn't go off
positions
on him until the end there. Well, I knew I was going to eventually get kicked.
Well, what was it that you guys? Because I left, I left, and then they were good because they said, "Oh yeah, you're in the backstage." And I said, "Yeah, you know what? I'll go ahead and leave." And in my mind, I was thinking, "Okay, yeah, it's fine. I don't have to white knight for Red Fang. He can handle himself. He's a big boy." And then I left, and I said, "Yeah, I'll be back." And then I left. But what was the conversation?
We started with the does Jesus exist? And apparently I'm too dumb to know what they're talking about and realize there's a side of the argument, which is kind of funny because they're getting two different things mixed together. They're taking the Jesus from the Bible and mixing it with the Jesus that the historians are talking about. So they're getting confused there, but Smokey was just plainly attacking my intelligence about that.
Barney, you got anything?
It's already been said, but that there are two different mythicist lines. One is denying the myth of Jesus, basically godhood, miracles, all of that, and the other one is denying the existence of Jesus altogether. But I don't give much credence to that. I'm fairly I'm fairly fine with the statement. There was this guy in Jerusalem and the surrounding area who had a cult or had followers or
Sure.
was preaching good things or like. But
Yeah,
in the retelling, the myth grew. Like that's my personal understanding, my personal view of the historicity of Jesus. The
Sure.
myths grew, things were added in retelling, and by the time they were written down, and like the indication being, if you look at the books, right? The damn it, Evangelia. What's the
You've been talking to a
English
lot of.
word? The four books.
Oh, the
the
Gospels.
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 The Gospels. Thank you. I hate it. I remember. I know the word in Croatian, and then just okay. Right.
You have been out of the English loop for a while. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Barney. Go ahead.
When you look at them in the sequence in which they were written, each subsequent one has more and more mythical and wondrous components. Right?
Sure.
He's more and more of a god and less of a man.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah. I'm kind of along the same mindset as you. So I don't. Yeah.
But like, I have no objection to the myth of Jesus the man being a great leader, a great teacher, a good person. If any of his teachings have been transferred reliably, that would seem to indicate that I agree with the guy on a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I've tried to separate that as well from conversations that I've had, and there's plenty of Christians that I've talked to about that seem to have issue with that. Like, oh, how can you believe that Jesus existed and not believe that he was actually God? And I'm like, well, Unitarians do it all the time. They don't necessarily hold to the divinity of Christ, but regardless, that seems to happen. And it's to me, it's not a problem. It's just whether or not they claim that a particular deity actually exists, and that hasn't actually seems to not bear anything out, at least not of yet.
So P Mars, why are you live streaming right now?
Because he's live streaming.
was-
Because he's sharpshooting my channel.
I was gonna live stream, and then I noticed Jay
Are
was
you sure?
streaming.
Oh,
Then
okay.
shut off your live stream or
Right.
go to yours.
I was gonna say, dude, if you're sharpshooting mine by being live on mine, you might want to be careful because YouTube's cracking down on that.
Okay.
Just letting you know. I don't care. I don't care if you're actually, if you're streaming what it is that you're live streaming on your channel, how you're engaging on my live stream, but YouTube might take offense to that because they've been cracking down on that.
Gotcha. Hey,
Okay.
Barney, if you agree with Jesus, why don't you become a Christian?
I was a Christian for a large portion of my life. I was raised Catholic. I don't object to faith. I just don't have it. If you understand what I mean. I don't have the belief. I don't have the required belief.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that on my way to the store because when they talk about faith, because I think it's interesting that Gavin always brings it up and like having faith about something is having um like a relative confidence in something. And one of the things I thought about was I was like, well, the interesting thing is that you're getting into something on faith. So in this particular portion, if you're believing in God, you're believing the God of the Bible, and you're believing these claims, you're getting into it on faith. Not that you're taking it on faith, not that you have faith in it, right? So I have faith in an automobile. If you're talking about faith in the level of confidence, right? In that particular sense, I have faith in my automobile given its performance record and the fact that it seems to be reliable. So I have faith that my little Mazda 3 is going to, when I have to go to work in the morning, I can get in there and I can start it up and I can drive it to work and I can drive it back home. So, but that's been demonstrated, right? That's been demonstrated, the fact that I can get into the car. The car exists and I can get into the car and I can start it up. But taking something on faith is simply saying, in my opinion, is like saying we don't have any way to actually have confidence in it. We're just taking on faith that we should have confidence in it. Do you have any problem with that, or is my example problematic?
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, so do you
Yeah,
think that
they don't like it when you try and bring up, because Smokey asked me what would I need to be shown that Jesus did all the things that he did. I was like, well, if there was a scribe there, a Roman scribe actually writing all this stuff down while he's doing it, and we have records of it.
yeah,
He
so you're
didn't like
looking
that one.
okay, so you're looking for a contemporaneous account as compared to the account after the fact,
Yeah,
which seems to be mostly what like the New Testament
yeah,
is
and
not a
that's pretty.
contemporaneous account. It's 40 to 50 years after the fact,
Yeah,
and this is
yeah, he didn't
after
like it when I brought that up.
oh, okay. Oh, that doesn't surprise me. Well, if you don't explain certain things to Smokey the way that he wants them to be explained, he will dismiss you as being a retard. So just to
Yeah,
let you know.
yeah, he can go fuck himself.
Yeah, the way Smokey debates is ridiculous. If like one time I was talking to him about subjective and objective truth, and he told me that subjective truth was an oxymoron and doesn't exist. So I don't know. It's like I feel like if he doesn't understand a topic, he just tries to act like he's above it or it's insignificant or something. Like he,
That's odd. I can't see Smokey saying that subjective truth is an oxymoron. That's odd.
yeah, I know because I was saying usually the
Well,
religious people argue in favor of subjective
it's
truth, and it's more like the
it is
atheists that favor
Hmm.
objective truth.
Hmm.
it is
Go
an
ahead, Barney. Go ahead, Barney.
oxymoron if you insist that truth only means objective truth, and then you say subjective objective truth, then that's an oxymoron.
Hmm. Okay. Probably have to ask him then.
Because I
I'm
was
not gonna.
Right.
I'm not
The,
gonna pretend
the
that I
truth
know what it.
is that which is out there outside of us as reality itself, unfiltered and not distorted by perception or understanding,
Mhm.
right?
right.
Subjective truth is an oxymoron in that case.
Oh, okay.
That is it,
Mm,
right?
Yes, I get what you're saying, Barney.
well, technically, objective truth would be too because it's objective truth is unknowable.
Huh?
But then we're talking about knowledge, not truth. Then we're talking about beliefs and understanding and perceptions and interpretations and categorization and all that wonderful stuff that kind of messes with what the actual truth is.
PMARS, meet Bernie.
But
Bernie, meet PMARS.
yeah,
I've met
agreed
Barney,
agreed
Flat
very
Earth.
much. Yes, it is not understandable. It is not comprehensible.
Objective truth is not comprehensible? Is that what you're saying? Or is it
Yes,
objective?
objective
Oh,
truth.
objective truth is not comprehensible. Okay. Why is objective truth not comprehensible? Just to continue the conversation.
So, one thing that a mind needs to do to be able to comprehend things is to categorize them, to group them and give them properties and analyze them by making things that are alike become, to the mind, symbols or objects or groups of objects of the same kind. And that's misleading because you can group things in infinitely many ways.
So basically, even just as you're taking information in, before you even like do anything with the information, you've already made subjective value judgments on the data that you're receiving based on like your biases and stuff, and you can't help it. So it's impossible.
Yes,
to,
but it's from my understanding, it's actually way more than that. It is not like you can say true things about it, right? You can have factual knowledge about reality within the constraints of the language that you use, of the symbols that you use. You can say force equals mass times acceleration. That is a truth statement by the definition of what force is and what mass is and what acceleration is. But that can be said in so many different ways, in so many mathematical expressions, in so many ways that you can measure and group those things, some more complicated, some less complicated, that it becomes like meaningless to the objective truth. It is a useful tool, right? The thing that I'm referring to is like, as an example, a specific case. Are
you talking about axiomatic claims? Is that what you're referring to, Barney?
No.
Things that we just accept to be the case?
No, I'm talking about literally categorization.
Oh, okay. Well,
grouping things into classes, saying this thing is a thing, right? When you say a force is a thing, or that forces are a thing, I'm trying to use a simple example where things are well defined and clearly defined and in no contention, right? Nobody contends what a force is, what an acceleration is, and what mass is, right? In that example that I gave.
Yep.
But those are somewhat completely arbitrary. You can group them differently. You can take force, take it apart, make it into its own set of different categories or classes, different symbols, different words, different concepts, and shuffle around the equation so that it still works. And the example of that are the three mechanics, the Newtonian, Lagrangian, and Hamiltonian. I've talked about this before, where they don't use the same language, but they describe the same thing from completely different perspectives, from completely different approaches, and in completely different contexts of thinking about the same thing. Where Newtonian tries to predict from current position towards the future and defines concepts that make it do that. And Lagrangian takes endpoints, starting position and ending position, and tries to find the path between and requires some similar but different concepts and ideas. And it is the thing that I'm trying to get is that those words and those concepts that we use define our thinking. We think of those things as things, where they might not necessarily be. They might just be indications of some regularity that we have arbitrarily chosen to name this or that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And in that sense, all subjective truths, even the factually correct ones, are insufficient. They're just approximations. They're simplifications of reality so that reality can fit into our small, limited brains.
Is that a form of relativism, or is that...
Wait. Do you mean objective or subjective?
Subjective.
Yeah, I think a lot of these debates boil down to whether you value subjective or objective truth more, and that's at the root of what we're debating.
Oh, I definitely value objective truth more. Objective truth is the ideal goal. We want to know as much as possible, as correctly as possible, as like we. I don't know about we. I want to know. Like that statement of, I want to be as correct as possible while being the least wrong as possible, right?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, people.
And that's trying to approach objective truth. But as you said, and I agree, objective truth, even in small parts, but especially as a large concept, is unattainable to humans. We can only approach it finer and finer through subjective truths, through understanding, through simplifying things.
It's based on our mind understanding it, and not just it being objective. Our minds do it, so therefore it is subjective, correct?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
and that then has long-term repercussions, because in that one thing which is factually correct, in which you have simplified it to be like, even if it is 100% factually correct using those terms, you then start thinking in those terms, and you get a problem of thinking otherwise, of correcting yourself, because those are the terms that you now consider real, and that may have repercussions somewhere else in some other domain of thinking about reality.
So you're kind of a victim of subjectivism at that point, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Like,
I'm getting you.
The reason why physicists had such a hard time with switching from classical physics to quantum physics is because they've already understood classical physics so well, and it worked so well, and it approximated so well, and we understood all these terms. We understood what properties are, we understood what values are, we understood how they relate to each other. It was all fixed and deterministic and understood and clear, crystal solid, right? And then somebody's like, and then reality disagreed. Then reality came and said, well, if you look at it fine enough, nothing is certain. And now you have to fit it into that language. You can't.
Yeah, because you're trying to fit it into a paradigm, and it's not working.
Paradigm, exactly. Paradigm is the word I'm looking for.
Yep.
Whenever you set definitions for words in your mind, like whenever you understand them, whenever you have a cognitive comprehension of what those words identify, you have entered a paradigm. Not the paradigm, but a paradigm.
A paradigm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an objective paradigm. It is a paradigm. Okay. Awesome. Anything, P. Mars?
It's pretty hard for me to follow Barney.
Barney is boring.
Barney can be a little bit long-winded, but I got what he was saying. What do you got? What do you got next, P. Mars? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, I think faith is the best way to ascertain truth.
So does faith require that we jump into something based on the truth of it, or is faith something that we base ourselves on the presupposed truth of something, and then we just have faith in it based on the presupposed truth? I think I may
Well,
Maybe I just put that the wrong way, but either way.
I think there's a distinction between faith on one hand and belief on the other hand. I think when you believe something to be true, you create a bias and you want things to be that way.
Well, how would faith not be a bias? How would faith in something not be a bias?
So faith would be an accepting of things, an accepting of reality the way it is, even if reality goes against your bias. And it's
Even
like
if reality goes...
Yeah, faith is
Okay,
about
so-
like letting go of your bias and accepting things the way they are, and it's the best attitude to ascertain truth. Because if you
So
believe,
why would you believe something that goes against truth? Do you think that truth comports to reality, or do you think that
Yes.
truth is something? Okay. So why would you have faith in something that doesn't comport to reality and therefore is truth?
well, I wouldn't, because I would accept reality the way it was.
Okay. What is reality as it was or as it is? If reality
I don't
is the
know.
way that we judge something as being true, and we can all come to the conclusion that reality is some kind of, let's say, a blanket plane, why would you think that we would need to actually come to anything? I mean, faith would be like, I have confidence in certain things based on reality. But if I enter into something that's not based on reality, based on faith, then I'm entering into something that's beyond reality. It's something not necessarily true, but maybe I'm not defining that correctly. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, like, if I believe something and even if I gather evidence to support that belief, I'm creating like a bias where like I kind of want my belief to be true, because no one really wants to believe something that's not true. And I might avoid information and not accept information about reality because it goes against my belief that I have. And I feel like faith is about accepting things that go against your bias that you don't like to hear.
So faith... that's interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go
I
ahead.
was pretty much done. Yeah, I was going to say, like, when God asked Abraham to kill his son to test his faith, obviously his bias would say, I don't want to kill my son. But because faith is accepting things the way they are, even if it's something you don't like, then that is the ultimate truth, the ultimate way to ascertain truth.
So what happens when reality disagrees with your faith? Right? When you have faith in something and in reality you do not find it or find the opposite.
Then you change your mind so that you believe you accept what reality is telling you, which goes against what you previously thought to be true.
Okay, so what you are describing to me sounds like virtuous belief, right? Like epistemic belief, like evidence-based belief.
Mm-hmm.
It is the evidence which dictates your beliefs, rather than your beliefs dictating the interpretation of the evidence.
Right.
Would that be fair agreement? And that
Right.
that to me is the exact opposite of faith. Faith, the way I understand it, faith is endurance and stability. Faith can be grown out of beliefs once you decide that no further evidence is required, that it is known, that it is so true that there is no evidence to be offered against it, and that there is no check that can be performed against it, that it is not merely believed to be true, but that it simply is true regardless, like even in opposition of reality.
Yeah, you're
Now,
correct.
you're describing the opposite of that. You're describing, if my faith is challenged by reality, I have to discard my faith.
I'm talking about the attitude of faith. I think the attitude of faith is an attitude of letting go of preconceived notions and bias and accepting things
What
as
is
they
the
are.
what is the attitude of faith?
I think that we've just both described it. The attitude of
I think
faith
so.
is it is true and no longer needs to be checked. I am so confident in this that I'm willing to hold it as true and believe it regardless of what happens. That nothing can happen, that everything that happens beyond this point may be my lack of understanding, but not the change of the truth that I know. Like I see virtue in faith. There is a lot to be gained by it, especially in mental stability, right? That you don't need to question everything all the time, that you don't need to be that kind of a skeptic, that you need to, like, if you're going to go drink water, you don't need to be such a skeptic that every time you pour glass water into a glass, you have to ask yourself, oh, damn it, do I require water? Is water poisonous for me? Maybe it is. I
Is the
know I've
source
drunk it before, but should I
is
check, right?
yeah, is the
So
source
at
of
some
this
point,
water pure? I've used this water
no,
before.
that's a different question. I'm talking
Oh, it
about
is.
water.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
talking about H2O, right? Um, there is some point where you develop faith that yes, you require to eat and you require to breathe and you require to drink water, and whatever you check is interpreted in light of that faith. You don't question it, you don't think about it, you don't, it simply is. And it is confirmed in everything that you do and in every way that you check. And my belief in God at some point when I was a child was like that. I just took God for granted. I just took God to be another person in the house. Right?
Mm-hmm.
In the same way that I've used this example before, but when my mother wasn't in the room with me, but was somewhere else in the house, I didn't start thinking, oh, maybe she doesn't exist actually. I would have faith that she exists.
Mm-hmm.
I would have a real belief. I would
But you
just take it for granted, right? It would be true under all circumstances that she existed, that I had a
but you
mother.
wouldn't but my point was, Bernie, you wouldn't enter into that on faith. You would take it on faith because of the confidence level and based on what you know, based on the experience that you had with being with your mother. It's not it. Maybe I have to define that into faith kind of example. It seems to be like when it comes to like Christianity or to like a God, I take it on faith, but you're not taking it. You're not going about it with faith. That because there is the example of your mother, and because your mother is in another room, therefore you don't have to necessarily question whether or not your mother actually exists or not. But when it comes to taking something on faith, you're there's no confidence level based on the fact that you already know your mom. You're taking it on faith that this is actually the case, even though you don't actually have a position on it.
Yes, but at some point in my life, as I said, when I was a child, I knew God in that way. Like I didn't question it.
I agree. I agree. Myself included. But yeah, continue.
Right?
Yep.
So it was just taken for granted. It,
Mm-hmm.
it
Yep.
I at at no point in my life did I go to evidence-based empirical research into the existence of my mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
so at no point in my childhood did I go into an evidence-based empirical research of the existence of God. He was just an invisible, ever-present, omnipresent person who was everywhere, accessible at every time, who knew the objective absolute truth about everything outside of me and inside of me, that
Mm-hmm.
I could reach out to and reach out to for comfort, reach out to as a therapist to, because he already knew everything within me, everything good and everything evil and everything wrong and everything certain and everything uncertain. There was no reason for shame. I could tell him everything and ask him anything, but his answers would be revealed in the world, not in the words.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Makes sense to me.
And that fell away at some point. That
Yep.
diminished when the answer that he was giving me appeared to be the answers of an 11-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That were plainly and obviously and wrong and in contradiction with the world. And that itself wasn't enough to shake my faith. I still believed, as I said, I do not understand. I am an 11-year-old, so the mistake is in me because I understood the answer wrong, in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
But those things piled up over the years. And when it came time for my confirmation, do you know the rituals of the Catholic Church? Like,
I know. I was confirmed. Yeah.
okay, so when it came time for my confirmation, knowing what confirmation is, I was asked to stand in front of the altar and pledge and swear that my faith is true and unshaken and unshakable, and to commit myself. Every ceremony before that, I was committed by my parents, right? For baptism, for First Communion, I'm sent by somebody else as a part of a Catholic family. The confirmation, the purpose of confirmation is that you go yourself to confirm your belonging and your faith. And it seemed impossible to me that having doubts, not having faith, having some form of belief but doubting, that I could stand in front of the altar of that being that can see into me and swear that I have faith. Like, lie that I have faith, because I don't.
Yeah.
And so I refused to, and I relied on the passage of "Seek and ye shall find," that I should go looking until I regain my faith or affirm my faith, and I went looking, and for about 20 years I didn't find anything anywhere except dishonesty of men.
Well, I've got an interesting question. At what point does faith not indicate doubt? When does faith necessarily eradicate any doubt? Like, if faith is a confidence in something, I can have confidence in something and yet in my mind still hold a particular doubt. When does faith come as something that's more certain than anything that's beyond doubt?
Well, that was kind of the thing where I was
it's the opposite of doubt.
disagreeing with Mars, where I understand the word faith to mean, but that's exactly that concept of categories and classes, right? For me, faith means not having doubt.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why, and the reason I brought that up is because that's kind of what Gavin has presented to me in the past, where he said it was a confidence in something, a confidence towards something. But even if I have a confidence,
why am I hearing myself echo?
That doesn't necessarily negate any real doubt. It's just a confidence. It's a certain level of confidence, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I can't have a level of doubt or a level of skepticism about my particular confidence in said thing. And that's why I thought it was pertinent to bring that up.
Well,
there is a difference. There is a difference between confidence within and confidence without, right? Confidence without meaning coming from the outside world. The outside world constantly affirming that a thing is true, which is, since you cannot know the objective truth, it's a thing that you believe, like you know it, right? Because it is constant. You know that there is gravity. The outside world is constantly, in every second of your life, affirming that there is gravity.
Sure. Yep.
But you can still allow for doubt of that. You can allow, but you don't.
Yeah,
You don't have to.
You might have a problem with it. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, just doubt. I'm certain, but there is room for a different interpretation, right?
Sure. I mean, science. It goes along the lines of like science invites skepticism, or it invites heresy or skepticism.
Where I would say faith is affirmation from within.
Yes, I think. I think.
Go ahead.
So, I think that it's important to have faith in ourselves because we live in this world of deception. We're being lied to, indoctrinated, propagandized. And if you doubt yourself, I think you're more susceptible to be deceived by outside forces. So
I don't know if that's what he meant by affirmation from within, but anyway.
Faith can help protect us from outside influences of altering us and leading us astray.
How are you saying a confidence in something is? How are you defining faith, P. Mars? How are you using if faith is simply a confidence in something? How does it resist being influenced by outside forces? Are you saying that faith would simply cement
faith in yourself?
Isn't that completely subjective?
Yes.
So it's not objective.
No.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yes, subject.
I just thought I would bring that up. I'm sorry.
The distinction between faith and knowledge would be the distinction between subjective and objective. The affirmation from outside, from reality, from my understanding. Like I know that Mars has said something different, but
see there's a problem with
that's what I mean. That's what I mean by affirmation from within. That there is no further, from my understanding, that there is no further external evidence to be given, or that could be given, or that invalidates the thing that I have faith, because it is affirmed from within. I know it. It's not that the world tells me so, it is that I know it. I can tell it to the world.
Mm-hmm. Which is completely subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Or objective. Look at it since it's coming from your point of view. It's objective to you. I'm sorry. That was a cheap shot. I apologize, Barney. Oh, I hate these conversations about objective and subjective. I really do.
Objective truth comes from objects. Subjective truth comes from me as a subject.
Yeah, I think we run into problems when we, like, Christians will use the Bible to say, okay, I have the objective truth because it's in the Bible. The Bible says this, so it's true. And maybe like an atheist will use science to say, I have the objective truth. Look, science says this, so it's true. And it's
well, from a scientific standard, if they have the, like what Barney was just saying, if they have the objects to correlate to what it is that they're talking about, then that is objective because they have the objects to point to.
Yes.
Well,
based on what Barney just said. But
then again, P. Mars thinks the Rosicrucians existed at the time of Jesus and immediately corrupted the Bible.
Yeah, what an amazing comment. Thank you for that.
Wait, what was that? Wait, what was that, Wiley?
I don't know, Wiley's insane.
Well, P. Mars thinks that the Rosicrucians existed at the time of Christ and immediately corrupted the Bible.
Yeah, I never said that. So Wiley's just a rude young person.
All you have to do is go back and watch Abel's stream.
Yeah, I never said that. I said the Rosicrucians edited the first edition of the King James Bible.
Hold on. Wiley, do me a favor. Find the timestamp if you could. Since you brought up the claim. Yeah, if you can. I'm not disagreeing with you or not believing you either way.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, I won't do it right now. I'll do it later, and I'll just drop in and say, what's it called?
Why are you
Like
such
this,
a
like Slim Jim's-
why are you
Slim
so
Jim's
full of
Discord.
why are you so full of hate, Wiley?
For the main reason
I don't
that
think
it's a
I
long
don't.
video.
Well, I don't think refuting. I don't think that him bringing up something that seems to be inconsistent to what you're talking about now is necessarily him being.
What
full
does
of
that have to
hate.
do with what we're talking about now? There's nothing to do with what we're talking about. He just brought that up to be a jerk. So I was just wondering, like, what did I do?
Well, how is it? Well, wait. How is it? How is it off topic? What was it you said?
He
Wiley?
strawmanned me. He said it. I didn't even make this argument that he made. That I said that the Rosicrucians immediately influenced the early church after Christ. I never said that. I said the Greek pagans did. I said the Rosicrucians edited the first edition of the King James Bible. But I don't know, you want to misrepresent my argument. Cause
Well, I mean, it's kind of based on what you have, what it is that you have faith in, right? Do you have faith in
that's
that?
that's a massive stretch, Jay.
Don't worry, I'll scrub through the video.
Well, do
later.
you have faith in that or no?
Do you not have a job, Wiley? You got time
Well,
to do that?
What does that matter if he has a job or not?
Well, he's got a lot of time on his hands to
But
scrub
what does
through
that
a
matter?
video
But what does it? Wait, but how does that make his claim? Or how does it make his question any more non-pertinent?
It has nothing to do. He just was like, "Oh, P Mars was wrong this one time, so I'm gonna talk about how P Mars was wrong."
Wait.
To be-
so
to
you're
just
saying that? So
Be
you're saying
rude.
that?
Even though it has nothing to do with the subject, I'll just mention, hey, one time P Mars was wrong. Out of
Okay, guys, I'm gonna bow out at this
I don't
point.
know. I don't
and,
even know.
um,
I think I lost the initiative there. Yeah.
good
okay.
job,
Okay.
Wiley. You just fucking ruined the conversation. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Yeah, I accidentally took the rail off the train.
Yeah, good job.
Yep. See you some other time. Been fun.
All right. See you, Barney.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I didn't really get the point of that either, but that's fine. Anyway.
Yeah, Wiley just, I don't know. He's mad that Christianity was influenced by pagans, so
Well,
he's angry at me about it because I tell him the truth about it.
Well, you're going towards him and not the claim that he's making. What is it? The claim that you? I don't understand what the topic is. I mean, you guys seem to be taking it to a personal level that I don't understand why it's personal.
Yeah, I don't either. He's like really
nothing
sensitive.
personal.
Wiley's like
It's
really
just
sensitive.
business.
I think
No,
I think
there's
I think he's
nothing
traumatized
personal,
by his
actually.
mom. He's got anger issues.
You're bringing up his mom. Wait,
yeah,
you're
I think
bringing
that's
up
what's
his.
going on.
Wait, you think he's taking it personal, but you're bringing up his mom. What?
Yeah. Because I didn't
You
do
don't-
Jay. I never did anything to this man.
But why would you bring up anything about his mom?
Because he has no reason to be angry at me, so he must be angry at something else, and he's
Why was he
directing
how
that
was he-
anger towards me.
He was contradicting you on something, and you think it's about his mother
Yeah.
because he contradicts you on something. It's because of his mom.
Because he's angry at me.
Because he contradicted you on something that you said.
He's angry at me, but he has no reason to be angry at me, so it's obvious that he's angry at something else, and usually it's the mother.
I don't understand what you're doing. How is it about you if you're bringing up his mom?
'Cause he's angry at me.
But you're saying that he's angry at you because of his mom.
Yeah.
That's a yo mama thing.
Well, that's what angry people do is they misdirect their anger onto things that are not.
So
really
he didn't. So
the
he
reason
didn't
they're
agree
angry.
with. So he didn't agree with you on a claim that you made, and now you're going to his mama.
I wouldn't put it like that. I would put it like he's angry at me.
What
and
was it?
Rude.
What was it that? Wait, hold on, Wiley. What was it that? What was the disagreement on again? Please let me know.
The
Just let me
pagan
know.
influence of the early church.
what
there
I
was
said. What I said was that P. Mars believes that the Rosicrucians in some particular. He didn't see. I don't remember if he said that they were still called. He would call them that at the time, but he said that basically the Rosicrucians existed at the time of the early church.
I didn't
As
say
soon
that.
as right after Christ died, they corrupted the Bible.
Never said that.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna have to. Yeah, if he said
Don't
that,
worry, I
but again,
will.
but okay, yeah, that's fine. And if that's
I
his
never
claim,
said that.
I know.
yeah,
I'm
but
not gonna
dude,
be. I'm not gonna
well,
be like a Jill.
So like, why like straw man me like that?
but
Like, what's the
Pmar,
point of just
P,
misrepresenting what I said?
Pmars, it's not against you personally. It's about a claim that
Okay,
you
but
made.
Jay, it's a complete straw man. I never said that. Complete
Pmar,
straw man,
Pmars,
and he brings it up. It's not even the topic of conversation.
Pmars, that's not necessarily that's not a straw man.
Yes, it is a straw man. I didn't make that argument.
Okay, I don't know the argument, so I can't tell whether or not it's a straw man or not.
So then why did you just give me your opinion that it's not a straw man?
Because he's saying that you're wrong. I haven't heard your argument.
Holy fuck.
So if he says that if he's disagreeing with you on an argument that you made, and he says you thought this, and he says you said this, and he's not in agreement of it, it's not a straw man. He's simply not in agreement of it.
But I never made that argument.
Okay, but I don't know the argument that it is referring to, and that's why I asked him for citation.
Yeah.
I asked him for a source. But you don't have to go after his mom.
I didn't go after his mom.
You just said he's angry because of his mom. You did.
Yeah, I assume he's angry at his mom.
Yeah, you're assuming that, and you don't have to. You don't need to bring up his mother in any way, shape, or form, dude. You don't. Knock it the fuck off. What's wrong with you? If you guys are in I'm not psychoanalyzing anyone. You're the one bringing up people's mothers.
Yeah, I'm psychoanalyzing him.
You don't need to psychoanalyze him at all.
Okay.
That doesn't help your case in any way, shape, or form. If you're going to go into, yeah, this guy doesn't agree with me, and the reason I don't agree with him is now I'm going to psychoanalyze him as being a fucking freak, then therefore he's wrong. Any kind of freak or any kind of some kind of psychological disjunct, then therefore I can dismiss his claims. Don't do that. That's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are in disagreement, then you have to talk about the topic. You don't have to go into his mother. He doesn't have to go into your mother. It's just about the topic, and that's it. Leave it alone. What's wrong? What's wrong with you?
The topic was an insult to me.
Dude, it doesn't matter if you found it insulting. If the topic was just the topic, and he disagreed with you on the topic that you hold to, or the subject matter that you hold to, you don't have to go after his mom because he's in disagreement of it.
Well, I want to change the topic to why he's angry at his mom.
No, we're not taking the conversation to his mom. His mom has nothing to do with the topic at hand. What's wrong with you?
Well, his topic at hand had nothing to do with the topic at the hand in the first place. So
I don't know the entire
topic about his mom.
I just said I don't know the entire topic, and that's why I asked him for the information. I don't know what it was you guys were talking in.
It had nothing to do with faith. We were talking about the influence.
But you, great! It had nothing to do with faith, and it had to do with pagans. But you brought up his mother, so great! You've just proved my point. Thank you.
Okay.
And you just made me become Smokey. Thank you for Thank you for making me become an ass. Wow. Anywho, what were you saying, Wiley? I don't even know what we were talking about anymore.
I completely lost track of where we were in the first place.
Barney left, and so I lost all interest. Once Barney leaves, I lose all interest.
I can't even follow him.
Barney, Barney takes a while to understand. I was on G Plus when I first got started in these conversations on G Plus. Oh, about 3 years ago. I had a hard time understanding his reasoning because he used to post plenty of topics on G Plus, and then I started having conversations with him. So I know where he's coming from. But again, it's something you grow into with Barney. But there was nothing there that he was talking about that was controversial in any way, shape, or form. He wasn't talking about anything that was out of the realms of any kind of anything saying unreasonable or controversial. It was straightforward.
Okay, Wiley. When Christianity defeated the other religions of the Roman world and eliminated the traditional form of the
But it
sacred
didn't.
among pagan
But
populations.
it didn't. Hold on. But it didn't defeat Islam, and it didn't defeat Judaism.
In the Roman world? Yeah, it did.
Whoa. In the Roman world, it did.
Yeah.
When?
It did not become the official religion of Rome
When did it become the official religion of Rome?
when Constantine converted.
Okay. So only at the time of Constantine. So it's only subjective to the time of Constantine, but not all the time of Rome.
Okay.
So that seems to be an evolutionary thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's not true all the time. It was just true during that time. During that Roman emperor's reign. Because he held to it.
Yep. People who were
Didn't Constantine do some questionable shit with non-believers that didn't hold to his faith?
I don't know. Probably.
Might want to check.
He actually had very little say in things like the Council of Nicaea. The only real thing that he did was help make it legal for Christians not to be hunted down, and
Yeah.
I think make it an official religion, and not
And that's
pathetic.
only, yeah, and that's only because they were kind of considered as outliers and they weren't holding to Roman pantheon.
Yeah, it says
And they were
here-
causing some interesting strife outside the freaking areas of Rome.
people who were converted carried with them into their Christianity the convictions about the sacred that they held already. In the 2 centuries after Constantine, in which Christianity triumphed, when the empire officially became Christian and the masses entered the church for various reasons, it was not possible that there should be the threefold mutation of a deep conversion to the Christian
So you're
faith
holding to the authority.
and the reciprocal abandonment of all previous beliefs, the
you're
corresponding
holding-
cultural transformation.
B. Mars, so you're holding to the authority of Christendom.
No, I'm saying that, like, I'm trying to explain to
Do you,
Wiley.
wait, do you believe that there's an authority to Christianity? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. So what's the argument that you're making there, other than the fact that it seems to be based on authority?
Trying to explain to Wiley that when people converted to Christianity,
Well, you don't
they
have to
held
explain it
on
to-
to their pagan beliefs still. They didn't just drop
Okay.
all their
Okay.
pagan
Should they
beliefs
not
and
have?
become Christian.
Okay. Should they have or not have?
I mean, if they want to be Christian, they should
Okay,
eliminate
is
the
that-
pagan
is it-
beliefs.
Okay. So is that an authority? To them not adhering to pagan religions, is that an authority? Yes or no?
Christianity teaches you to be an authority unto yourself.
By adhering to what authority?
Yourself.
But not to Christ.
Christ. What does he do?
I think he's got notes, Wiley.
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
I read books. I'm like you guys. I'm not like a loser.
Wait, no,
like
I'm
you
asking.
guys.
I'm asking you. Okay, cool.
So power is from God. So authority comes from God, but authority is overcome in Christ.
Where does it say that authority is overcome in Christ?
Colossians 2:13 through 15. Jesus has conquered evil and death. He also says that, this is Paul says that, Christ has stripped of their power all the dominations and authorities and made a public spectacle of them and triumphing over them by the cross. In Christian thinking, the crucifixion of Christ and his true victory over all the powers, both celestial and infernal. So Christ freed us from slavery.
Okay, so he had to free us from something, which means he's the authority over something in order to free us. We couldn't free ourselves. He had to free us. So is he an authority, or are we the authority that freed ourselves?
There is no authority except from God. Power is from God, but power is
Okay,
overcome
so
in Christ.
where's the problem with authority? You're a Christian anarchist, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if God is the ultimate authority, where's your anarchism?
Christ.
Isn't Christ God?
Here it comes.
Christ is divine in the sense that he's the best representation of love in a human being, and God is love.
Okay.
Just say it
so
outright.
Does
You
that
know
mean
what you wanted to say.
does that mean he's an authority? Yes or no?
Authority.
I like having these little conversations with you because you're fun.
He died on the cross so we could be an authority unto ourselves.
So he had to die. So we have to rest our authority in his death in order to be
He's not-
authorities.
God is the authority, and he overcomes that authority.
So he had an authority over death in order for us to what? Could we have an authority over death, or did he have an authority over death?
He liberated us from death.
So he was the authority over the liberation of ourselves.
God is the authority.
So, but you're an anarchist, which is against authority.
Yeah.
But yet you said God is the authority.
Yeah.
Figure that one out.
So, after Christ came, he freed us from the authority of God.
You mean the authority of...
This has got into some kind of Gnostic stuff now.
This is weird.
It's-
So God has no...
Tell us all about Gnosticism. You're an expert. You know, Wiley determined that Jacques Ellul was a mystic based off a New York Times article. That's the extent of his research.
Oh no, I just did a quick Google search and tried to find a quick article to go ahead and give you during that time. It was not the only thing that had to do with Jacques Ellul. And I did not care to go through finding every single article at that time on Jacques Ellul.
You do really like superficial service level research, and then you act like you have all the answers.
Wait. That's about him. So his information seems to be not sufficient to you. So but I'm still not convinced. Why is it that I should believe that God is an authority? How?
I'm not trying to convince you.
But is God an authority? Is God an authority over sin?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Is God an authority over anything?
I told you God is the authority. All authority comes from God.
Okay. So why are you against authority if you're a Christian anarchist?
Because Christ died on the cross to overcome all the dominions and authorities and made a public spectacle of them and triumphing over them by the cross. Colossians 2:13 through 15.
And you have to hold to him as what?
Nothing.
Do you hold to him as an authority as being able to do this?
No.
Or do you think you could have done this on your own? Do you think that you could have done what Christ did? Dude, no, I'm serious. Do you think that you could have done what Jesus did on your own? Yes or no? You're saying that Jesus is not an authority. God is not an authority. Jesus freed us from some kind of authority. Is Jesus an authority over anything? Yes or no?
No.
So Jesus is not an authority over death or
No.
sin. Cool. Thank you. Jesus didn't die for our sins. He's not an authority over death. He's not an authority over sin, and we don't have to believe in him at all. Correct?
He liberated us from death
How would he be able to liberate you from anything if he's not an authority?
by teaching us how to accept death.
But you said that God was an authority and Jesus is God.
To accept death, to accept defeat, is to
You
be
said God is the
liberated from it.
authority. You said God was an authority. Do you believe that Jesus is God and is God an authority?
Jesus is not God. God is authority.
You don't think that Jesus is the same thing as God?
He's the same thing as God because he's perfect love, and God is perfect love. So in that sense, he's God.
But he
P.
has
Mars, what P. Mars thinks is that Jesus, due to the fact that Jesus is called the Son of God, and that Christians are also referred to as sons of God, he believes that that Christ was a man, and all humans are on the same level as the Son of God.
Wiley believes that donkeys are sexually attractive, and he's trying to marry one in a country that will allow such things.
I think that's actually really disingenuous, P. Mars, considering the
No,
fact
it's
that
the truth. He told me it. I'll go find the timestamp.
Did you actually say
it's
that?
a long video.
Wait, did you actually say that, Wiley?
You said
Definitely
it, Wiley.
not.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, show me the timestamp.
Okay,
Give me
it's a long
the
video. I'll have to find it
No,
tomorrow.
okay, yeah, get that for me.
Okay.
And let me know. And let me find out exactly what talking about donkeys has to do with your inability to see authority where authority seems to be the case. Because I'm really kind of curious as to what Wiley's perception of authority has to do with your perception of somehow non-authority.
No, I don't know. Wiley apparently knows what I think better than me, so.
Well, I've been asking you directly, but you still haven't been able to really answer me very well.
We believe
Well, you
in
hopped
Jesus.
into multiple.
Who is
P-Mars,
we?
you do know you hopped into multiple streams by multiple people.
Me and
I
my
happen
cult.
to watch or join their streams, and you've
Who
said
is-
all your
Wait,
stupid stuff on these
don't.
streams.
Hold on, Wiley.
Right, so
Who
you
is-
know me more than me. So
Wait. Hold on, P-Mars. Who's we? You brought up a royal we. Who's we?
me and my cult, my followers.
Do they hold to an authority?
No, I teach them that they're their own authorities.
But do they hold you as an authority?
Me? No.
You said you have an occult. You gave yourself as a we.
Yeah. We believe in Jesus. We acknowledge
Okay.
him as our God and call him God. This is not because we see divine qualities in him, omnipotence, transcendence, eternity, etc. It is because of his attitude of love to others, which leads us to live in the same spirit and gives us a taste for living.
Can you send me your mission statement for your cult? I'm
I
serious.
don't have one.
Well, it sounds like you just read one off.
Yeah. I read
Did
that
you
from,
not read-
It's from a book.
What book?
Anarchy and Christianity. It's in the appendix.
Can you send that to me?
You want me to type all that? Okay.
No, I meant just send me a link to the source.
I mean, I'm holding it in my hand. The book in my hand.
Well, no, I don't believe that. Send me a link to the book, to where you got that particular quote from.
How do I send you
Oh, I didn't kick him. Didn't kick him. It says his devices are not connected for some weird reason.
Oof.
Oh wait, I think he's fine now. There we go.
I tried to turn my
He
cam
dropped
on
for some weird reason.
because I
That's
tried
odd.
to turn my cam on. I don't know, it kicked me because another device is using it. But it's from a book I'm holding in my hand. I can't link the book in my hand.
I can
We're just
confirm
saying
that he actually
well,
does
if you
have,
look, well,
has
if
the
you look at,
physical book.
well, if you look inside in the book, there's an ISBN number, and you can copy and paste that. You can type that out in my private chat, and I can look up the book.
ISBN number.
I worked at a bookstore for 2 years. There's ISBNs.
What the hell is? Where would that be?
Oh, it's inside.
Oh, I
it's
see
inside.
it. I
Yeah,
see
there
it.
it is. Yeah.
The ISBN 13 or 10.
Either way, it doesn't matter. You can give either way.
The private chat.
Yeah, in the private chat.
Okay.
But if you hold that as an authority, then you're holding to an authority. Just to let you know.
Myself is the authority.
Okay. Then you're not an anarchist. Because no one's an authority. You're not an authority if you believe in anarchism. No one is an authority. And it's really kind of interesting because if you go into anarchism, almost leads into nihilism. Which,
No.
according to praise, could lead into
Atheism leads to nihilism.
Huh?
Atheism
No.
leads to nihilism.
How? Please tell me.
Moral. Most atheists are moral relativists. And moral
No.
relativity
No. You can
leads
be a
to
moral. No, but being a moral subjectivist.
nihilism. Moral subjectives.
Yes, but moral subjectivism is separate from being a moral nihilist. A moral nihilist doesn't have to be subjective or objective about anything moralistic because they don't hold to any morals being actually real. So, congratulations, you failed. Try again. Praise has been trying that for a long time, and he's failed it a lot of times. Just because someone's a nihilist doesn't mean they're an atheist, and just because an atheist is an atheist doesn't mean that they're a nihilist. It's the same thing as saying that, oh, because I'm a metaphysical naturalist, I'm therefore an atheist. Yes, that could hold. But just because someone's an atheist doesn't necessarily hold that they're a metaphysical naturalist.
Yeah, but it's true as a stereotype because
No,
people are
I don't.
indoctrinated to fit into boxes.
What? So
You're-
what was your point? You're gonna hold to people being put in boxes because you think it's really cool when people are put into boxes because you're such an anti-authoritarian? What the hell's wrong with you? You like people being put in boxes? You anti-authoritarian? You like people being put into fucking circles and squares and triangles? You like people being subjugated to particular things? Come on, man. Try harder.
So self-authority is a central idea in several political philosophies that emphasize individualism, such as libertarianism, liberalism, and anarchism.
Self-authority. You
Yes.
think you can actually? So you think you can free yourself from sin?
So are you going to admit that you were wrong and that having authority over yourself is a part of anarchy?
Do you think that you can forgive yourself of your own sins?
Yes. So do you think are you going to
You
admit
think
that
it-
you were wrong when I said that being authority unto myself was an anarchy, and you said that that's not anarchy because I'm an authority? And can you admit you're wrong?
I don't see how it could be if you think that you believe that you're saved.
Okay, it's self-sovereignty is part of the political philosophy of anarchy. Like you can't admit you're wrong about that.
I'm kind of it.
Jay, have you ever admitted to being wrong about anything?
Well, we're not talking about whether or not I'm wrong about anything.
When's the last time you admitted to being wrong about something?
What does that have to do with anything that we're talking about?
Well, I just showed that you were wrong about anarchy, and you seemed like unable to admit that I was right and you were wrong.
But you hold to the idea that somebody could save you from something.
Right.
Give me your definition of anarchy again.
Holy fuck! I don't have that off.
You just gave it to me.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I was
you just
looking
proved
up
you just proved me wrong about something. What was it that you read off?
That's the Wikipedia article on self-ownership, also known as sovereignty of the individual or individual sovereignty,
Okay.
aka
Self-sovereignty. Self. So tell me exactly where Christ comes in.
He gives me self-sovereignty by his sacrifice on the cross.
So he's an authority?
No.
How is he not an authority?
God's the authority.
Okay, so you hold to an authoritarian.
No.
God's the authority.
Yes.
You just said God is the authority, but
Yes.
you said authority comes from only us.
Because Christ died on the cross.
But you said
God's
God is the
authority is overcome,
only...
and we
Why
have
would
the
God's-
authority
why would-
as
why would God's-
individuals.
So why would you make the claim that God's an authority?
Because he is.
But you just said that we overcome it. We overcome God's authority because Jesus Christ died for our sins. So how can you make the claim that God is an authority?
Because God is an authority.
How is he an authority if we've been saved from him?
Well, not everyone's been saved from him, like you.
Are you sure?
Yes.
How do you know that?
Because you're a slave.
How am I a slave?
Your mentality, you have a slave mentality.
What's the slave mentality?
The mentality that you display, where you
What's-
believe in caste system and hierarchy, and you think little of yourself, and that you're afraid to make decisions for yourself, and that you need people to tell you what to do.
Okay, those are a bunch of claims. You want to justify any of those right now?
I think you justify them.
How did I? No, you made
Your
those
existence
claims.
justifies them.
They justify them unto myself, or you need to justify them to me? Because
You're
I'm
the
saying that you're wrong.
evidence. I'm saying you're the evidence that you're a slave.
Aren't you the evidence that God is the authority?
No,
So you're not saved?
I'm saved.
So aren't you the evidence of God's authority?
The evidence of God's authority.
Did God's authority create Jesus Christ, and then Jesus Christ died for your sins, and by that authority that you're free from God's authority, is that not the authority that you hold to?
I hold to God's authority.
So you're not an anarchist because you hold to an authority. Thank you.
Or wait.
Nope, we're done.
God is the only authority.
Bingo.
But I've overcome that authority.
How did you overcome that authority?
I discovered the cause of my ignorance, and I was saved.
So Jesus had nothing to do with your salvation. Jesus had nothing to do with your salvation? You could do it all on your own?
an atheist could be saved.
Okay. So what's the point of you believing in God if you can actually just become saved on your own?
I don't
Please
believe in
don't.
God. I don't believe in God to become saved. I believe in God because God's real and exists.
How is God real and he exists?
Well,
How is God real and how does he exist?
I mean, he's real. He exists.
Is God contingent on existence?
What do you mean by contingent?
Is he contingent on existence?
What
Yes
does
or no?
contingent mean?
Does God require himself to exist? Is existence something that God needs to be?
I have no idea.
So things that we know that exist because they exist. Does God need to exist? Or can God just simply be the necessary factor of existence?
I don't know.
Okay. So, the God that you believe in seems to be not an authority on anything, doesn't seem to exist, or necessarily does or doesn't exist, but it's something that you want to insist that we actually believe in for some stupid reason.
I've never insisted you believe in God.
But you think I'm stupid to not believe in it, right?
No, I just think you're stupid.
Then why do you think I'm stupid? Because I don't believe in God?
Because you don't read, you gossip, you do drugs, you're married.
Do you drink caffeine?
Yeah.
Drugs.
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a nice day. You ever done nicotine?
In the past, yeah.
Drugs. You ever taken an herbal supplement?
Maybe.
You ever taken garlic?
I eat garlic.
Drug. Garlicin. Allantoin. All sorts of things found in garlic.
Do people use garlic to escape reality? Because they don't like their reality, they don't like
I didn't
their
say
life.
anything about, well, since when does taking a drug necessarily mean that you get away from reality? When did that become the necessary parameters of the drug use? Some people use drugs to be more productive, right? Or what they perceive to be more productive, yeah. Like people snorting cocaine, people using Adderall, Ritalin. You don't think that this is drug use to become more productive? You don't think this is what's your problem?
I have no problem.
You don't have a problem with drug use then?
No.
Okay, cool. Then I don't know what your point was.
Well,
You brought up you brought up something about my drug use, and I was just kind of curious.
yeah,
And
like,
that seemed to be easily diffused, but
I think it's stupid to do drugs.
what drugs?
Alcohol and mind-altering substance like marijuana.
But you do caffeine.
Hold on. I actually want to ask a question about that. So,
Caffeine is
cannabis.
caffeine is a mind-altering drug, dude. It actually changes chemical things that are going on in your brain. You don't think that caffeine is a mind-altering drug?
I think it is a mind-altering drug, but it's not a drug that you can use to escape a horrible reality of being married to a woman.
People who have taken Adderall and people who take Ritalin to help them get through college courses, you think that's an escape from reality? Or do you think that's perfectly fine because they use those drugs to perceive some certain end? Do you think that the ends justify the means? Are you a believer in the ends justifying the means?
No.
Okay, so what's your point?
You're dumb.
I'm dumb?
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. That's
Yes.
right there. That's the best
Okay.
response right there.
Okay. So I'm dumb.
Either way, I actually had
So show me how I'm smarter. Show me how to get smarter.
I can't.
Then that means you're stupider than me.
Okay.
If I'm really that dumb, anything that you tell me would automatically make me smarter. Now you're telling me you can't, which means you're as dumb as I am. Right?
I don't believe so.
You can't tell me water's wet? How dumb am I?
Infinite?
I'm not infinite. Are you saying I'm infinite?
Your capacity for stupidity is infinite.
How is my capacity for stupidity infinite if I'm finite?
everything tastes like roasted almonds.
That's not what I asked you. You said I was infinite in my level of stupidity. How am I infinite in my level of stupidity if I'm a finite creature? Please explain.
You're not finite. You're a combination of infinite and
But
finite.
you said I was infinitely stupid. How?
I said you're not finite.
But you said I was infinite. You said my stupidity was infinite.
You're a combination of a human being is a combination of the infinite and the finite.
How is my stupidity if my stupidity is infinite? How is my stupidity infinite if I'm finite? Please explain.
Yeah,
I didn't think you knew.
You're too stupid.
No, I don't know. I think we're better off having Barney in here when he was having a conversation with you, because that seemed to be going a lot better.
I think
Because now you just kind of derailed off the conversation a little bit.
I think if you were sober, the conversation would be going better.
As compared to when Barney was in here? You
I
didn't
don't
make
know.
that accusation was when Barney was in here talking to you.
Yeah, because
My sobriety never came up. How do you know that Barney wasn't?
'Cause I was talking
inebriated?
to
AJ,
Barney, I wasn't
Midnight's
talking
at
to you.
stage.
Yeah, it's him. How do you know that I'm inebriated?
You just sound drunk.
How do I sound drunk?
Do you know how a drunk person sounds when they like slur their
Sure,
words?
I'm asking
I think
you.
it sounds like you, P. Mars.
Okay.
I could say the same thing about you. It sounds like you've been hopping whippets. I mean, you literally don't make any sense.
Yeah, well, you're trying.
I mean, you're contrarian. You seem
At
to be
least I'm not a
contrarian.
busted version of Socrates.
What does that have to do with anything?
You're a busted Socrates. You're trying to do this Socrates shit and you suck at it. Maybe if you're sober, you could do it better. Or
What
maybe
is the
Jefferson could do it. Maybe
what is-
I need the other spatchcock.
Before you go off on a tangent, what is a busted Socrates? What is that?
It's like, So you are like Socrates if Socrates was.
How am I like Socrates? And then explain to me how I'm a busted
You're like
ass Socrates.
because you're using a Socratic method to show that I'm being logically inconsistent.
Do you have?
So you suck at it. Hence, I call you a busted Socrates.
And yet you've been insistently answering my questions based on my Socratic method. Do you want to continue the Socratic method?
You're busted Socratic.
How is it busted? How is it busted?
It's not working, dude.
Okay.
P. Mars, what is the Socratic method?
Yeah.
I couldn't define it. I think it's like you ask.
Okay. So you can't define. So you can't define what the Socratic method is, but you're saying I'm a busted ass version of it.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead and figure that one out.
Yeah. What can you define a man?
That seems like an arbitrary term. What
Yeah,
is a
I
man?
keep, I keep
Adult male
asking
human.
you to define a man. You haven't been able to do it.
An adult male human.
Yeah, you can't do it either.
I've done that before too. Yeah, that's not the
I
answer. He's
literally
looking
just-
No,
for.
I
no
literally
one. I'm
just-
the only one on this panel who knows what a man is.
P. Mars, I literally just quoted the Oxford Living Dictionary.
You mean
without
the guy?
even going
You mean the
into it.
guy? You mean the guy
Right.
with the full? You mean the guy with the full neck beard that shows images of his fucking weightlifting machine and doesn't seem to have been laid in the past 30 years? Is that what you're talking about as being a man? Because I think you're kind of incel.
Exactly. See, Jay defines his manhood by women, his sexual conquests with women. So that is the opposite of a man. That is a weak, womanly boy man. It's Where's the theme? Man, Jay's the drunk Socrates.
I mean, it's all right. Like, overrated as fuck, in my opinion. I mean, and you know what, though? That's typically how the bullshit goes. You feel me?
Overrated as fuck. Dude, that's the best video on YouTube. I found it. I finally found it. I can stop YouTubing.
So this is where it happens. Right here.
So this is it. One computer that's not even plugged in.
Computers? Ha! We don't use computers here.
Well, how do you write any?
Okay, we've been talking about, in the last video, introducing the major character in Plato's dialogues, which are philosophical conversations about philosophy or a philosophical topic. We're talking about the character of Socrates and how he's the embodiment of philosophy, or the search for truth, the movement to this other world of forms. In each dialogue, they're discussing a particular form, whether it's love or philosophy itself or beauty or whatever. Okay. But I want to talk about the character of Socrates and how exactly he practiced philosophy. In particular, what's known as the Socratic method. The Socratic method. And the Socratic method is a method of philosophizing, of engaging with a partner, engaging with an interlocutor, and practicing philosophy in a unique way, namely an ironic way. And I want to talk about irony here because the Socratic method makes use of what's called Socratic irony. So, Socratic method from Socrates, the major character in Plato's dialogue, employs Socratic irony. But I want to talk about what irony is first before we get into Socratic irony and the Socratic method. Okay, irony is very interesting. I usually ask the class what irony is and if anyone has an example of irony. And usually they think it means something like the unexpected. And that's true to a certain extent. That would be something like dramatic irony. But irony in general, I don't know if you remember, there was a song called Ironic by Alanis Morissette, maybe in the 90s somehow. And nothing in the song was ironic. But what was ironic was writing a song about irony that wasn't ironic. That would be ironic. And in general, irony is this way of existing for philosophers. The closest thing we have to irony, or a form of irony, would be sarcasm. Sarcasm, when you say the opposite of what you mean. Now, irony is that's generally what irony means, saying the opposite of what you mean. So the distinction between what you say and what you intend, or how something appears and how it really is. And this is really key. Irony highlights that distinction between appearance and reality, which is pretty much an analog to the distinction between the two worlds, the world of appearances and the world of the forms, or the world of real reality. So irony is this thing that the philosopher is very comfortable with because it highlights the distinction between appearance and reality. So it's a nice day out today, but if I were to see you on the street and say, what a terrible day, you'd know, ironically, that what I meant was different from what I said. So it asks you to go behind the appearances to the intention, okay? So irony is saying the opposite of what you mean. A form of irony is sarcasm, but I would say it's a lower form. There's more playful forms of irony. But Socratic irony is pretending to be ignorant so as to bring out the ignorance of another person. So pretending to be stupid, like hustling or letting yourself be underestimated, right? So if I go play a basketball game and I'm really good and I come under the appearance of looking like a fool, so I'm taken for granted so that it shows you, it shames you. This was the method that Socrates employed. He pretended to not know what he was talking about. Well, in a certain sense, whether he pretended or not, this is a bit ambiguous, but he feigned ignorance. He'd go up to lawyers. He'd go up to lawyers and say, you practice the law, and the law has to do with justice. What is justice? And through a long conversation, he'd find out that the lawyer didn't even know what he was talking about. He didn't know what he thought he knew. And this is the goal of Socratic irony, or the goal of Socratic dialectic, namely to feign ignorance, to highlight that appearance-reality distinction, to pretend you don't know what you're talking about, so as to show the other person that they don't know what they're talking about, that they do not know what they thought they knew. So the goal of the Socratic method, which makes use of Socratic irony, is to show the other person that they do not know what they thought they knew. He went up to a priest, Euthyphro, in their dialogue, and talked about piety. For a bit, and asking this question. Euthyphro said, well, piety is doing this act or doing that act. And Socrates goes, well, wait a minute. Those are just acts of piety. What's the essence of piety? What's the form of piety? And Euthyphro couldn't answer. Now, you can imagine, as he's going through this with different interlocutors, as they encounter Socrates, they start to catch on what he's doing about, 15, 20 minutes into it, and realizing how he's, letting them come to terms with their own ignorance, but not letting them in on it, right? So you can imagine they become very angry. This is why he was killed, I think. If you start hustling enough people and shaming them and showing them they don't know what they're talking about, they're going to be angry. If you've ever seen the comedian Sacha Baron Cohen, he does Borat, Ali G, Bruno, and a host of other characters, and he goes sort of undercover and gets people to reveal their racism, their political prejudices, their sexism and things like this. But he pretends to be a racist or a sexist or whatever, and gets people to go along with it. And then they realize afterwards that they were just completely duped, and they've exposed themselves to their own ignorance. Okay, there's also a wisdom tradition that makes use of this kind of Socratic irony. If you've ever seen Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, how does Yoda first appear to Luke Skywalker? He pretends to be a rube, a country bumpkin who's just some guy in a forest, doesn't know what he's doing, and he's testing Luke Skywalker. In the Bible too, God usually appears in the forms where he's taken for granted, right? Jesus in Luke 24 on the road to Emmaus, after he's crucified, at the resurrection, he appears to walk with two disciples and says, "Oh, what's going on? What are you guys so upset about?" And they're like, "Don't you realize? Are you the only one in Jerusalem who hasn't heard this Jesus was crucified?" And he goes, "No, please tell me more about that." And then finally they invite him in, and he does the Eucharist, and they realize it was Jesus and that he was testing them. So this idea of feigning ignorance, pretending to be stupid, pretending to be ignorant, so that you're underestimated, so that you can reflect back to the person who you're doing this to that they do not know what they thought they knew. The revelation of their own ignorance, that's Socratic irony, and that's the Socratic method. And the goal of the Socratic method is a kind of wisdom. The wisdom, namely, in understanding that you don't know. Okay? That's the key idea. Wisdom for Socrates is the revelation that you do not know what you thought you knew. And then once you come to terms with that, through an emotional encounter with your own ignorance, you can begin to philosophize because you've sort of wiped the slate clean. Okay?
You said he did it. So
Well, yeah, I don't think that's necessarily the right term. He's basically siphoning off of me for his own views.
So you're
And he-
basically calling him a reaction channel.
Yeah.
You know what? I like that one.
He's doing the same thing, but he had to do it in real time. So it wasn't enough for him to do his own stream and invite me onto his stream. It was I needed to do a live stream and then have him on my live stream in order for him to do a live stream about me and him on my live stream. That's what he's doing right now. Because he's an absolute troll.
Why am I a troll? Because you suck at Socrates.
I guarantee you, this is a guy that's like wandering around while he's lifting weights in his bedroom at his mom's place, and he's trolling 4chan and Reddit. He was calling, man. Wiley, didn't he call you a contrarian? Was it you that he was calling you a contrarian?
Probably not.
Oh, okay. Never mind. It might have been that. It might have been from that Praises channel. I apologize. I'm getting everything
That's
mixed
okay.
up. I get so used to all these people throwing around accusations about certain individuals, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Why? What the fuck is wrong? So we can't have conversations about any kind of given topic without it getting into something personal about the particular individual. That's amazing. But yeah, but that's. Yeah, if he's live right now, if P. Mars is live right now, he's basically trying to say, he's basically going on a rampage about how I'm just a douchebag.
Honestly,
And how
P.
Wiley,
Mars,
and not just me, Wiley as well.
Hey, P. Mars, if you ever listen to this, you know what, dude? Do whatever makes you happy in life. Just remember
He's
that people are
listening
gonna
right
fucking-
now.
Okay, well, thank you, Wiley. Let me try again. You know what, P. Mars? Do whatever makes you happy in life. Remember, people will fucking hate you for it if you're a dick.
I don't even hate the guy.
Well, not
I
you
just think-
specifically.
I don't hate the dude. I have no
People
reason to
will
hate the
hate
dude. I
me?
just think
Oh
he's a
my
Nimrod.
God.
That's all I can think of. That's the most generic term I think he's just a Nimrod. I think he's a tool.
You know, for as shitty as I feel most days, I'm glad I'm not these people.
Well,
I'm glad I'm not P. Mars. I'm glad I'm not Shani, Red. You know, all these fucking wonderful
I never,
people we met.
well, I never know with Mars because I never know when he might like rob a bank and think it was justified by the grace of God and because he's against authority.
Oh, he's just trolling. He doesn't really believe in
But he
anything
doesn't.
like that.
But
He's
he
a
doesn't.
fucking-
Yeah, I know he doesn't know what
Yeah,
authority
trolling.
means, so he's fine. Yeah, I agree. He seems to think, oh, God wouldn't tell me to do such a thing, and God says not to do anything. I thought you said you were against authority. Wait, no, that's not what I mean. Well, you're going off of what God says, yeah? Yeah, but I don't hold to any authority. If you're going off of what God says, then you're going off an authority.
I wonder if these tricks actually work on other people.
Jay is just like so convinced that I can't be an anarchist.
No, it's just he just does it to confuse people, and
Yeah, it's like,
fucking.
well, God,
You know
God,
what? Well played.
God eliminated us from any kind of authority. Well, Jesus even said that not one jot or tittle of the law, not one iota of the law will be changed. And yet he's still sitting there talking about like Jesus freed us from authority. Okay, so Jesus freed us from authority, and you're holding to Jesus as what? As my authority over the authority. Okay, great. Then Jesus is an authority to you. Do you think that Jesus has authority over sin? Yep. Okay, then Jesus is an authority. And he doesn't seem to believe that. I'm like, if Jesus isn't an authority over anything, then what do you believe in? Well, Jesus is the authority that frees me from authority.
Jesus is fucking dead, motherfucker. How is he an authority? Who's Jesus telling what to do? He's fucking dead, bro.
Stop,
He doesn't understand that either.
Just stop. I needed to laugh this morning, but just stop.
Yeah.
This is too much.
He doesn't get it. And that's all I was trying to talk to him about, and he still doesn't get it.
What do you mean I don't get it?
If you believe that there's a deity, if you hold to a particular deity or belief, and you believe that that deity has some kind of authority over saving you from particular sin or something like that, then that's an authority. You're not an anarchist. You're holding to an authority. So I apologize, but I mean, if you want to call yourself a Christian anarchist while still thinking that you're, oh yeah, I'm a hardcore rebel by not adhering
Wait,
to authority, but thank you, Jesus, for freeing me of my sin. Everybody else is just going to laugh at you, but that's fine if you believe it, as long
I
as you're
just
not
realized
using it
something.
against someone else.
Isn't being a Christian anarchist kind of a contradiction?
Yes.
I think he's just trying to make Christianity more what's the term I'm looking for? Almost like it's more rave than anything else. It's like it's something that's more unique than what Christianity has been demonstrated as. Because again, these guys, a lot of these guys are like churches unto themselves, and I very much think that P. Mars is like a church unto himself. Oh no no no! I don't hold any authority whatsoever. Well, do you believe that Jesus saved you from your sins? Yes, Jesus has authority over sin. In
Let us
order
all
to
be
make,
thankful. Let us all be thankful. Mars isn't smart enough to start his own cult.
he says he has one.
Then God help us.
He said he did have one because he said we, and I said who's we? And he said my cult. He said that earlier in my stream. He said we.
I don't know.
Yeah, you get deeper. You start asking these people a little bit more probing. That's why he doesn't like. That's why he calls me busted ass Socrates, is because I'm asking him more questions than he really wants to be asked.
Because you're fucking.
So that's the way that
stupid,
you respond
Jay.
to somebody who's asking you too many questions. Oh, you're just a busted ass Socrates.
Jay,
Oh, you don't like the question? You don't like
Socrates.
the intrigue?
Come on.
You don't like what is it you have a problem with?
Jay.
Are you hiding something? What's wrong with you?
You tried to show me that I was wrong and that I had an authority, and you failed miserably. Shut the fuck up. You're a busted fucking Socrates. Give it a rest, bro.
What is it that you're hiding?
Oh
right?
my
That's just
God.
that's a little kind of a form of rhetoric there to just kind of keep them going.
Yeah.
But they don't have to necessarily continue on with the conversation. So if I
just
start
hope
asking you
that
questions,
nobody actually believes him.
who?
Yeah,
P.
I know
Mars?
you guys do.
Yes, I just hope that what he says, like people actually follow him. I hope that nobody follows him.
He's
Yeah,
probably
I
got
know why,
followers
because
that
you
just
hate
Jim.
me and
It's
you hate
probably
your
him.
mom.
It's probably him,
Mommy
his right hand, his
issues.
left hand, and when one of his hands are,
Oh,
he's put one of those things to sleep before he jerks off. Who knows with P. Mars? P. Mars is he's just incredibly inept, as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't really offer a whole lot to the conversation in any way, shape, or form, other than assertion. If you want a whole lot of assertion, sure, bring him in. If you want to be accused of
or does
loving your mother so much that you just start to hate everybody,
Should I call Matt
sure.
again? That's what he just asked. I just noticed in the chat.
What's that?
No, I didn't. But Spooky, if you have a link for it, that would be great. Because apparently P. Mars talked to Matt Dillahunty.
I have that. You guys want to see it?
sure, why not? Let's see what kind of stupidity he said.
Okay. Okay. So, and just to bring it up, actually, I'm glad you guys brought this up because he says, according to him, he says that Matt Dillahunty said that he would not take him seriously. This was P. Mars' claim. P. Mars said he was
Wait, I think
basically
I heard that.
yeah, he
But
was
play
like
it again.
yeah, he wrote this in a chat. He goes, "Oh yeah, I Matt Dillahunty told me to not take him seriously, and so when I was getting ready to do my get ready to go on with this thing, oh, don't take me seriously," as though he was like getting one over on Matt. But anyway, I'll show it to you guys. It's
Yeah, I think I heard it, but yeah, maybe it's someone else. Go ahead.
it's fucking hilarious. He made a complete ass of himself.
I mean, doesn't he always?
Just an absolute douche canoe. There it is. I can drop that one. Let me go here. Oop. Touchpad's a little sensitive. Share screen. Chrome tab. Atheist experience.
Don't forget audio.
Share. Yep. And let me see. Where did Spooky say that?
When you were dead in your sins and in the uncircumcision of your flesh, God made you alive with Christ. He forgave us all our sins. He forgave us all our sins, having canceled the charge of our legal indebtedness, which stood against us and condemned us. He has taken it away, nailing it to the cross. And having disarmed the powers and authorities, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. Therefore, do not let anyone judge you by what you eat or drink, or with regard to religious festival, a new moon celebration, or a Sabbath day. These are a shadow of the things that were to come. The reality, however, is found in Christ. What does that mean? I see. Oh, I see. That which we regarded as sacred is no longer sacred. Do not let anyone who delights in false humility and the worship of angels disqualify you. Such a person also goes into great detail about what they have seen. They are puffed up with ideal notions by their unspiritual mind. They have lost connection with the head, from whom the whole body, supported and held together by the element spiritual forces of this world. Wise, though you still belong to the world, do you submit to its rules? Do not handle, do not taste, do not touch these rules, which have to do with things that are all destined to perish with use, are based on merely human commands and teachings. Such regulations indeed have an appearance of wisdom, with their self-imposed worship, their false humility, and their harsh treatment of the body, but they lack any value in restraining sensual indulgence. So rules do not actually restrain sensual indulgence. So you can make a rule that says I'm not allowed to eat pork, but I will still desire pork, but the true reality found in Christ helps me not indulge in my senses. Freedom from human rules. There we go, right there. Amazing. Kitty? No! No! How do I get him to stop biting my feet? No! Stop!
Send you here for life. That's exactly what they take.
Motherfuckers out here tripping. Yeah. Well, I just heard some shit on this record. Fuck you. So I'ma send this out to that. You too, nigga. Standing in the midst of my comrades. Believe that, make you believe crack. Fucking with the best. Have you really thought about your part in this participation? My prediction, bloody murder, similar to administration. Now in fairness to conversation, cause it's your face, so take the time to contemplate what you'll be facing. Talking that hip-hop shit, don't get shot, bitch, cause you can tell all in your clip, the epochs, dick, the clips, and prepare for the motherfucking death blow. Cause every rapper in the industry is history, is death row. Not bad boy, it's West Side. If I make it out before the rope, just like the mother hoes. The intricate designs of my lethal lines, criminal rhymes from the mind of a thug, shaking state time, take it to the next phase. You had your time to talk shit, now bitches busters getting checkmated. These days, motherfuckers talk shit and turn snitch. When you see them, they ain't talking about shit. West Side, so crazy. Bitch, I beat your boy back, standing in the midst of my comrades. Bitches can't fade me, plotting, but they boys crash, fucking with the midst of my comrades. So crazy. Bitch, I beat your boy back, standing in the midst of my comrades. Bitches can't fade me, plotting, but they boys crash, fucking with the midst of my comrades.
I'm so sick of you son bitches, you sick ass son bitches, you trick ass, bitch ass, big man ass kissers. Wanna dick in your ass, but front like you love bitches. AIDS can't hide, closed doors, cross dressing. That shit make you put your mouth on a pistol and make you suck it like a popsicle. Cock the hammer back and then kill you. Get rid of all you niggas that shouldn't be here. That's right. Overcrowding the system, fuck nigga. My personal vendetta with niggas that act bitchy. About to turn my Apple Swans cold shit. Probably gon' sue me, but I don't give a fuck. Every case I ever had, settled out of court. The charges got dropped cause they never showed up. Read between the lines, nigga, never showed up. Chumps make it tough for gangsters like us. Cause every time you turn around, we fucking y'all up.
So crazy. Bitch, I beat your boy back, standing in the midst of my comrades. Bitches can't fade me, plotting, but they boys crash, fucking with the midst of my comrades. So crazy. Bitch, I beat your boy back, standing in the midst of my comrades. Bitches can't fade me, plotting, but they boys crash, fucking with the midst of my comrades.
My motherfucking comrades. That's right.
You know what a hassa is, Frank? That's a pig that don't fly straight. Neither do you, Frank. What the fuck did I hurt you? I brought you in. So we had a few differences, huh? No big deal. I gave you your start. I was the one who believed in you. I stayed loyal to you. I made what I could on the side, but I never turned you, Frank. Never.
Send you here for life. That's exactly what they take.
Motherfuckers out here tripping. Yeah. Well, I just heard some shit on this record. Fuck you. So I'ma send this out to that. You too, nigga. Standing in the midst of my comrades. Believe that, make you believe crack. Fucking with the best. Have you really thought about your part in this participation? My prediction, bloody murder, similar to administration. Now in fairness to conversation, cause it's your face, so take the time to contemplate what you'll be facing. Talking that hip-hop shit, don't get shot, bitch, cause you can tell all in your clip, the epochs, dick, the clips, and prepare for the motherfucking death blow. Cause every rapper in the industry is history, is death row. Not bad boy, it's West Side. If I make it out before the rope, just like the mother hoes. The intricate designs of my lethal lines, criminal rhymes from the mind of a thug, shaking state time, take it to the next phase. You had your time to talk shit, now bitches busters getting checkmated. These days, motherfuckers talk shit and turn snitch. When you see them, they ain't talking about shit. West Side, so crazy. Bitch, I beat your boy back, standing in the midst of my comrades. Bitches can't fade me, plotting, but they boys crash, fucking with the midst of my comrades. On this record, fuck you, so I'ma send this out to them. prediction, my prediction, bloody murder, similar to ministration. Now in fairness to conversation, cause it's your race, so take the time to contemplate what you'll be facing. Talking that hip-hop shit, don't get shot, bitch, cause you can tell all in your clip, the epochs hit the clips and prepare for the motherfucking death blow. Cause every rapper in the industry is history, is death row, not bad boys, west side. If I make it out before the ropes like the mother hoes, the intricate designs of my lethal lines, criminal rhymes from the mind of a thug, shaking stage time, take it to the next phase. You had your time to talk shit, now bitches busters getting checkmated. These days, motherfuckers talk shit and turn snitch. When you see them, they ain't talking about shit. West side, so crazy. Bitch, I beat your boy back, standing in the midst of my comrades. Bitches can't fade me, plotting but they boys crash, fucking with the midst of my comrades. So crazy. Bitch, I beat your boy back, standing in the midst of my comrades. Bitches can't fade me, plotting but they boys crash, fucking with the midst of my comrades. I'm so sick of you son bitches, you sick ass son bitches, you trick ass, bitch ass,
Bitch ass bitch.
Rhymes from the mind of a thug, shaking state time, take it to the next phase. You had
What's going down, y'all? What's going down, y'all?
My people come first.
So you really thought about your part in this participation? My prediction, bloody murder, similar to administration. Now in fairness, it's a conversation. Cause it's your race, so take the time to contemplate what you'll be facing. Talking that hip-hop shit, don't get shot, bitch. Cause you can tell all in your clip, the epoch, dick, the clips, and prepare for the motherfucking death blow. Cause every rapper in the industry is history, is death row. Not bad boy, is so crazy. If I make it out before the rope, just like the mother hoes. The intricate designs of my lethal lines, criminal rhymes from the mind of a thug, shaking stage time, take it to the next phase. You had your time to talk shit, now bitches busters getting checkmated. These days, motherfuckers talk shit and turn snitch. When you see them, they ain't talking about shit. West side.
What's going down, y'all?
So you really thought about your part in this participation?
The worst come the worst, my people come first.
So you really thought about your part in this participation?
Have you really thought about your place?
What's going down, y'all?
Have you really thought about your part in this participation? My prediction, bloody murder, similar to administration. Now in fairness to conversation, cause it's your face, so take your time to contemplate what you'll be facing. Talking that hip-hop shit, don't get shot, bitch. Cause you can tell on your clip, the epoch, dick, the clips, and prepare for the motherfucking death blow. Cause every rapper in the industry is history, is death row.
Not bad boy, is so crazy. If I make it out before the rope, just like the mother hoes.
The intricate designs of my lethal lines, criminal rhymes from the mind of a thug, shaking stage time, take it to the next phase. You had your time to talk shit, now bitches busters getting checkmated. These days, motherfuckers talk shit and turn snitch. When you see them, they ain't talking about shit. West side.
What's going down, y'all?
I can't get this fucking part here. I don't know, I can't get this fucking part. Not bad boy, it's West Side before I make you bow before the route. I can't get it. I can't do it. No.
You see him next time, take it to the next.
What's going down, y'all?
Have you really thought about your part in this participation? My prediction, bloody murder, similar to administration. Now in fairness to conversation, cause it's your face, so take the time to contemplate what you'll be facing. Talking that hip-hop shit, don't get shot, bitch. Cause you can tell on your clip, the epoch, dick, the clips, and prepare for the motherfucking death blow. Cause every rapper in the industry is history, is death row. Not bad boys, West Side. Before I make it out before the road,
like the mother hoes. The intricate designs of my lethal lines, criminal rhymes from the mind of a thug, shake and stay, trying to take it to the next phase. You had your time to talk shit, now bitches busters getting checkmated. These days, motherfuckers talk shit and turn snitch. When you see them, they ain't talking about shit. West side.
It's going down, y'all. That's bad.
Sadat. Big Sadat X. Wow. Yo, shit.
Nigga was motherfucking hyped up. The nigga just grabbed the nigga, snuffed the nigga, and it was on from there. The motherfucker, there wasn't nothing stopping him.
What the rest of these niggas do?
Man, the motherfucker was just ready for anything. The niggas was packing burners. The niggas straight up fighting.
I remember all the words.
The niggas was on the real flip mode. They was coming out like a motherfucker. The nigga was amped. He was like, come on, motherfucker.
Come on, motherfuckers, come on. 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 Hell yeah, my way, come on. Come on, motherfuckers, come on. Come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Let's go deep into the phrase. Feel the sun rays.
Everything is real. Biggie put me on his joint, so I'ma be the big wheel. I just been, hey dad, place your bet on 7. Piece of 106, 108, 110, 111. Hey Biggie, I understand you're from Brooklyn with
22s in your shoes.
Yo, keep the swing.
When I blow up the spot with Sadat, release the brainstorm to make your motherfucking brain warm. A strange form, something kind of spiritual.
Biggie the bastard, Sadat's kind of spiritual.
Well, in God we trust, guns I bust, not that disgusting suicide busting. Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that I bring? Nigga MC try to sing for a living. Check the beat down we fucking giving. Come on, nigga.
Come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Come on,
come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Come on,
come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Come on,
come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Come on, motherfuckers, come on. Come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Come on, motherfuckers, come on.
What? Niggas want drama, couldn't work on my block when I told you last week the shit was too hot. Selling deuces and trays, cuts my dimes. Somebody don't get paid, somebody block its way. Reaction is delayed as you run down the block. Hot one in your chest, your breath coming spurts. Hey yo, Biggie, tell these niggas I'ma hit them where it hurts. The big city, it don't spare no bodies.
Call me Bobby Tulo to all the Spanish mommy.
I'm about 10 blunts down, drank 3 or 4 stout, seen 5 fat asses. Pass this bitch with glasses. Yo, money, that's your stock. Yo, Biggs, pass the clock. I'ma tell him it can happen. Don't play me with that rap shit. Life is real, so Biggie
grab
can't
the steel.
steal. Come on, motherfuckers, come on. Come on, motherfuckers, come on. Come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Motherfuckers,
come on. 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 Motherfuckers, come on.
I got 8
Mac 11s,
about 8 38s, 99s, 10 Mac 10s. The shit never ends. You can't touch my riches, even if you had MC Hammer and them 357 bitches. The Biggie Small, the millionaire, the mansion, the yacht, the 2 weed spots, the 2 hot Glocks. That's how I got the weed spot. I shot Dread in the head, took the bread and the lamb spread. Little Gotti got the shotty to your body, so don't resist or you might miss Christmas. I tote guns, I make number runs, I give MCs the runs dripping. When I throw my clip in the AK, I slay from far away. Everybody hit the DECK. My slow flow is remarkable. Peace to Mateo. Now we smoke weed like Tony Montana sniff the yayo. That's crazy blunts, fat L's. My voice excels from the avenue to jail cells. Oh my God, I'm dropping shit like a pigeon. I hope you're listening. Smacking babies at the christening. So you better grab your pistol, cause if you sit still, I'm gonna make your fucking shit spill. And I'm talking about buckets, why does I have to do it? Sadat said fuck it, you got a gun, nigga, bust it. Cause I got more shots to pop ya, Big Papa, breaking you off something proper. Signing off is a hardcore rap singer, aka crack slinger, bring it anytime, nigga.
Come on, motherfuckers, come on. Come on, motherfuckers, come on. Come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Come on, motherfucker.
Come on, motherfuckers, come on.
A motherfucker.
Come on, motherfuckers, come on.
Real motherfucking
Come on,
G.
motherfuckers, come
Come on.
I love to see shit like that.
MCs act like they don't know. I don't practice Santeria. I don't practice Santeria. I ain't got no crystal ball. But I had $1 million, I'd spend it all if I could find that Hannah and that Sancho that she's found. But I'd pop a cap in Sancho and I'd slap her head around. But I really wanna know how Levy. But I really wanna say I can't define this love that I lead. Oh, my soul will have to wait till I get back, find a Hana of my own. Daddy's gonna love going on. I feel the break, feel the break, feel the break, and I gotta live it up. Oh yeah, well I swear that but I really wanna know how Levy. But I really wanna say I can't define that love, make it go. My soul will have to. I really wanna know how Levy. What I really wanna say is I've got mine. We'll make it, yes I'm coming up. Tell Sanchito that if he knows what is good for him, he best go run and hide. Daddy's got a new 45, and I won't think twice to stick that barrel straight down Sancho's throat. Believe me when I say that I got something for his punk ass. But I really wanna know how Levy. But I really wanna say is I just want way back, and I make it, yeah. My soul will have to wait. Yeah, 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 yeah. We took this trip to Garden Grove. Smelled like Lou Dog inside the van. Oh yeah. This ain't no funky reggae party. $5 at the door. It gets so real sometime. Who wrote my rhyme? I've got the microwave, got the VCR. I got the deuce in the trunk of my car. Oh yeah, if you only knew all the love that I found. It's hard to keep my soul on the ground. You're a fool, don't fuck around with my dog. All that I can see I steal. I fill up my garage. 'Cause in my mind, music from Jamaica. All the love that I found all over, there's a reason why my soul's unsound. It's you. It's that shit stuck under my shoe. It's that smell inside the van. It's my bedsheet covered with sand. Sitting through a shitty band. Getting hassled on my hands. Getting hassled by the man. Waking up to an alarm. Sticking needles in your arm. Picking up trash on the freeway. Feeling depressed every day. Without making a sound, picking my dog up at the pound, living in a tweaker pad, getting yelled at by my dad, acting I'm happy when I'm not, finding roaches in the pot. Oh, all these things I do, they're waiting for you. I'm a long time.
Down in Mississippi where the sun beats down from the sky. They give it up and they give it up and they give it up and they never ask why. Daddy was a rolling stone. Oh, he rolled away one day and he never came home.
It ain't hard to understand. This ain't Hitler's master plan. What it takes to be your man. In my mind, in my brain, I roll it over like a semen freight train. It ain't hard to ascertain. You only see what you want to believe. I got tricks up my sleeve. That don't mean I can't hang. The day that I die will be the day that I shut my mouth and put down my guitar. Sunday morning, no church and I'm at the bar. Get down on your knees and start to pray. Pray my itchy rash will go away. Back up, y'all, it ain't me. Kentucky Fried Chicken is all I see. It's a hellified way to start your day. If I make you cry all night, then yeah, Dad, gonna have a fist fight. It ain't personal, it ain't me. I only see what you want me to be. I'm a backwards, I still feel young, dick butt kiss. You know I lie, I get mean. I'm a thief in the dark. I'm a triple rectified ass son of a bitch.
Got married.
It just didn't happen.
Well, you seem to be such a delightful individual. I can't imagine any female overlooking you on this great big planet.
Well, I've been engaged twice, but I refuse. You know how women pretend to be all in your corner until they get you? And so the first time that I got engaged, it just didn't work out because I was like out there a slut maker, and I liked the woman at the time, but not really into her. But the second time I got engaged, everything seemed fine until I got really busy, and I realized once they start complaining, because women play games with you when you're dating them, and when you're engaged, they pretend to be on your side, they pretend to be understand the order of God, but once they get you, that switches. And when I saw that wasn't going to work, I called off the engagement because I didn't want to go through a divorce thing with children, and so I just didn't do it. I was able to see the game that was being played. And most of the time, men get married to women, but because they have not overcome their mothers, they don't see the game that the woman is playing on them, because women know how to really play a game on men. They know how to, it's like a snake in the grass. They know how to be what what they think, what the man want them to be until they get the man, and then they switch, and that's when all hell come out. But now the man is married, he has children, and he just end up becoming a boy.
Well, I am so sorry to hear that.
But you know,
So
it is true though that women play the game, right?
Well, it depends on why they play the game.
But first of all, they do play the game. I don't know why they play it. I know why, but they do play that game on men, and men don't see it. They don't see what they're getting into. Am I right?
It's really hard to determine what kind of woman were you with. Was she a Christian?
Yes. Both of them were Christian. As a matter of fact, the first woman that I was engaged to was the daughter of a preacher man. And she still played the game. So you do admit that they play the game, but I want you to tell us why they play it. You admit that they play the game, right?
Well, I think that some women play the game because they want to see what the interest in their partner is going to be.
No, it's not. It's not lesbians or homosexuals. It's between men and women, not partners.
Well, when I say partner, a man and a woman.
Oh, I thought you meant two men or two women.
No, I mean a man and a woman. They're partners in marriage or what have you.
But they're not partners.
Dating.
They're not partners. They're husband and wife.
Well, husband and wife. So the question at hand is, why would a woman play a game for whatever reason, is to find out what her man's all about. I have no idea why any woman, depending on the game. So what kind of game is it? Is it a game of jealousy? Is it a game of love? I don't know. But generally, sometimes games are played just to see where her man is at. Does my man love me? Does he get jealous? Because those kind of determinations are sometimes not good or effective. You kind of know where your man's at. So if my man gets jealous, then obviously he has some interest in me. Is he playing with me? So I think ultimately what a woman wants to know is my man going to be faithful, and does he really love me?
Are you a Christian, Holly?
I am definitely a Christian.
Oh, okay. The reason that the women play the game is because they want to get control of the man. And so that's why they test the man. Oh, does he love me? If he loved me, she got control. Or she tests the game with, is he cheating? The game that women play is to get control over the man. They're not trying to prove that they love the man, or really if the man loved them. It's all about control.
But what does control? I mean, why would a woman want to control a man?
Because of her ego. Women are very insecure. They're in a fallen state, and they're very insecure. And so they try to control the man or the children or the cat or the dog, and it gives them a false sense of security, of salvation. When they're really looking for the love of a father, they use other things to try to fulfill that void. So if they can control the man, then they feel like that void is fulfilled. But because I've seen it recently, a lot of men are starting to wake up, and they see that this woman has control over them, right? And so what they do, they start to overcome, and the woman go nuts. You don't love me. You don't sex me the way you do. You don't worship me. They're losing that control, and rather than having appreciation for it, they're like, I'm going to leave. If you don't treat me the way you used to, I'm leaving. Rather than taking a look at themselves and overcoming that fallen state.
Well, it sounds like you're educated in a lot of areas, and I'm wondering, where do you get this source from? It seems like you're on target with a lot of things. So I'm wondering how and where did you get educated in this knowledge?
From within. Once you overcome the spirit of the mother, so you're born of the flesh of the mother, so you're of the flesh, right? Then you must be born.
Women are made in God's image too.
I'm sorry?
Women are also made in God's image.
No, they're not. No, women are not made in God's image. They're made in the man's image. They came from the man. But what I'm telling you is that when they love the man, they love their earthly father, then through him they love God, and they can have the same peace that the men have when they return to the Father. but they gotta love the man, the fathers first. They got in order to have that. But women are created in the image of man, not the image of the woman. That's why women are subject to men, and that spirit in them, which come from below, is fighting to resist being subject to the man. Because if they do, they're gonna become daughters of God, and Satan doesn't want that to happen. But anyway, you ask, where do I get this from? I got it from within. You're born of the woman, then you must be born of the Father, the Spirit of God, right? Then you will enter the kingdom in heaven inside of you, and all wisdom is there. Everything you need to know, everything is there. Love, courage, insight. But you must be born of the Spirit of God for that to happen.
Sounds good to me. So these women that you were engaged to, you decided to get out of the relationship because you felt that they were trying to control you.
No, I know that, but they were, not that I felt. I saw that they were, and the work I do, I can't help but do what I do, and I could not marry a woman that's going to be bitching about that, and so I just ended. I got my ring and got my money back, and just ended it. And I thank God that I was able to see it before I got into it, because most men don't see what they're getting into, and they just catch hell.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is don't miss that opportunity in your life because you're never too late. It's never too late to fall in love.
Don't miss what opportunity?
Well, you may have another chance that a female might come into your life and fall in love with you. So hopefully you don't miss that opportunity. And
I could never fall in love again with anybody because I'm already of love, right? When men fall in love with the woman, they're falling into hell. But when you return to the Father, you're coming into life. You only fall in love with the woman because you don't see what you're getting into, and that's why she's able to control you.
Well, remember, Adam and Eve, God had Eve come to the earth for a reason.
Right,
and,
right, to have babies and obey her husband.
And other things as well, I'm sure.
Like what?
I know that God,
yeah, you're right. I totally agree.
Well,
Holly, to clean the house, to watch over the man's children, to make meals, to watch. She's on earth to be the vice president of the husband, but nowadays they want to be the president, and that doesn't work.
Right.
Holly, have you forgiven your mother?
I forgive my mother. She's incredible.
You went to her and forgave her?
For whatever I need to forgive her for, I have forgiven.
Did you go to her and forgive her?
When I say forgive, when I tell my mother if there's things in our lives that are questionable, meaning advice or what have you that we don't agree with, and sometimes, you get into arguments or what have you, but yes, of course, I told her I forgive her. You
went to your mother and said, I'm sorry for hating you for being such a bitch?
No, I would never say that.
Why not?
Because my mother is not that.
Yes, she is. Why do you think she controls you? Only a bitch would want to control someone.
Well, I know, that's a terrible, when I say people who want to control other people for whatever reason.
Why do you think your mother want to control you? You can't even get away from her.
Well, I think the question at hand is that when people want advice, mothers, as long as they live, they're always going to give advice, and whether.
But they give the wrong advice. Mothers don't have the right advice. It only puts you in hell and it doesn't bring you to heaven.
But what about fathers? So fathers give advice too, and sometimes children don't always agree with that advice, but you forgive your father too. Dad, I'm sorry I got mad at you.
But the only kids that would not listen to their fathers have been turned away from their fathers by their mothers. And so they have their mother's mindset about their fathers. Children love their fathers, and fathers love their children, but the mothers turn them away from the father. And so they would treat the father the same way the mother treat the father, thinking that it's their feeling, because mothers play victim, and she make the kids feel sorry for her. But why do you think your mother, you can't get away from your mother?
Well, because my mother doesn't live that far from me. So, and having her near me, I love the fact that I'm able to contact her and talk with her and kind of look out for her.
But where's her husband?
My father has since passed.
Oh, okay. Were you close to your father?
I love my father.
Were you close to him?
Yes.
While he was living, you grew up close to your father?
Not every day of my life. My family, my mother and father later got divorced. I'm originally from Canada, and we moved to the United States because my father wanted to get into ministry. And before he died, he was a psychologist.
Well, Holly, you need to forgive your mother for turning you away from your father because you're never going to be yourself. You are your mother. And all in the name of Jesus, your mother is controlling you, and she's only doing it because you resent her and you have identified with her, and so it's hard for you out of fear or hurt or feeling to go and forgive her so you can become yourself. Your mother, are you married, Holly?
No, I'm not.
And why not?
Because I've decided in my life that my life is with God. And having someone in my life is, I like the company, what have you, but right now I don't have the company. But eventually I'd like the company. But having God in my life is a great thing. So if the company or what have you doesn't come into my life, that's fine. If God wants to put somebody in my life, that's great. I will always carry God in my life. But I find without somebody in my life now, I find that God is more. I'm more studying the Bible, and I'm doing things of that nature.
Were you married before?
Yes, I was.
And you have children?
Yes, I do.
And what happened to your husband?
We got a divorce.
Why?
It just didn't work out. We fell out of love.
You know why it didn't work, may I tell you? And I've never met you, right?
Tell me. I'm curious to hear this.
And I've never met you, right?
You've never met me.
The reason that you're divorced today because your husband couldn't deal with you, because you're just like your mother, and your mother was in the way, and that's why your husband left.
Nope, that wasn't it.
Yes, it is. I guarantee you. Because right now your mother rule over you, and so anything you do, she's going to make sure that it doesn't work so that you would need her.
So let me ask you this. Oh, go ahead.
You got to face your mother, Holly, and forgive her because right now you don't believe in God. You believe about God. That's why you have no peace. You believe about him, but you don't believe in him. And he's not going to let you into the kingdom until you go and don't ask for forgiveness for your mother. You forgive her for dominating your life and turning you away from your father, involved in your marriage, screwing up your kids. You got to stand up to her, forgive her. Whether she admit it or not, it's on her, but God will forgive you. Holly, you will have perfect peace. It will change your world.
Well, peace is something that Jesus did say, I'll leave with you.
But you're never going to have it until you go and forgive your mother. She was wrong, but she can't help it. Her mother did it to her. But she destroyed your marriage.
So what happened to your mother?
She destroyed your marriage. Am I right?
No.
Your mother
what happened to your mother?
Your mother was not involved in your marriage at all?
No.
You're not being honest.
I am.
No, you're not.
Being very honest.
No. But then you need to apologize. You're just like your mother. Your mother's involved. We'll get to that later. But you need to apologize to your husband for running him off by being so difficult, judging him, pretending you were better. He could never do it right for you, turning his children away from him. Once you need to apologize to him for that so that your children can get better as well.
So what about your mother?
What about her?
Do you forgive your mother? No, is your mother still alive?
No, she dead.
I see. And was she a great influence in your life?
No, but I forgave her before she died. She was just like you. She was a Christian. She did her best. She had 9 kids. She never had to work while my stepfather was alive. She was just like you, a holy woman, but she had that hell in her.
You know, we live in a world today where a lot of people are confused about certain things that, like you say, with good and evil, what have you. There is good and evil out there.
It's out there inside of people. It's not like out there by itself. It's out there inside of people. And Holly, the only way you're going to overcome that hell that's in you, you got to forgive your mother. That's why God said, go and forgive, and I will forgive you. Don't ask for forgiveness because your mother is so wicked, she's not going to apologize.
In the name of Jesus, there is.
You coming in here is a lot of fun, and if you want to come in here again, just jump on in, brother.
Cool, awesome. All right, guys.
I'm actually, this is perfect time for me to go.
Correct you. Should show you that we're trying to love you in a way that would you consider not love, but it really is love from God. That's what real love is. It's not the sugary sweet stuff. Go ahead and sin, sure. You'll go to heaven because God loves you. But then when you find out when you're dead, you're not there. So, I mean, that's the best way to not love people is to just lie to them.
Yeah, I agree with you. We are in a spiritual war, and sometimes, and I think God calls on us to be honest with each other, and sometimes honesty isn't nice. But I do think our greatest weapon in this war is love and forgiveness. So I would add that.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
yeah. I get that,
You're-
but sometimes people don't. I guess you can forgive them without the approval of it, but that's how.
Dear, I fear we're facing a problem. You love me no longer. I know, and maybe there is nothing that I can do to make you do. Mama tells me I shouldn't bother, that I ought to stick to another man.
Hey everybody, today we're
things that you're
And
saying.
why is that?
Black people are whining. Black people are whining. Do you know every black person? I mean, how can
Why
you
is that
say something
they
like
are
that? It's
under the
ridiculous.
poverty level?
Well, I think that's because of racism. You know what I mean? I think that just because blacks were given the right to vote by Democrats, by the way, by civil rights. I'm not a Democrat, by the way. I mean, I don't identify as a Democrat. I certainly don't identify as a Republican. But obviously, Democrats have been the ones to enfranchise black people with the vote. And by the way, we should talk about other races too, Arabs and
Well,
Asians
the
and so forth.
Democrats fought against the blacks voting. It was a Republican who pushed for the blacks to vote, and the Democrats
That's objectively false.
The Democrats fought against it. But I
That's
do want to
objectively
tell
false.
you,
You just talked about
said
Lyndon
that-
Johnson. I mean,
you said that the
what
blacks
he
are
did.
under poverty. They are in poverty or something like that. Poverty level or something, right?
I think so. I mean,
think so?
I'm not prepared with statistics either, because this is not really